Hey everybody, welcome to Seahawk Talk. We're joined here as always every Monday by Levi with DarwinsRavens on YouTube. How was your
What up?
weekend, man?
Oh man, it's a good weekend. It's a little hot down here in Florida, but how about yourself? How's it out there on the West Coast?
Oh, nice. Super nice. It's weird. So Sunday it was nice all weekend, and then Sunday it went from like sunny and 50 to just it started snowing randomly for like 20 minutes at my house, and then
What
to
the heck?
rain and then to sun. That's how spring is over
Yep,
here.
that is. It's gonna be basically 88 to 90 degrees every single day with less than 13% chance of rain for the next 3 weeks.
Oh, really? Yeah, I hear so. So I don't even know what humidity is like,
Oh,
being up here.
I
So,
hate humidity. I hate humidity so much.
but yeah, some big news with both our teams. I'll
Oh
get to
my
the
God.
Seahawks first because it'll take less
Yeah,
long. Seahawks
yeah.
signed Bobby Wagner, and they'll fill a huge gap. I've been talking about it, I guess, since I started this
Mhm.
channel. Oh, what's up, Ryan? That's
What up,
Ryan.
Ryan?
No Border Sports.
No border sports. I like it.
Yeah, he comes on.
Congratulations, by the way, on Bobby Wagner.
Yeah, thank you. Ryan comes on every Wednesdays, and we'll do like an
Okay.
NFC West deal. So,
Okay. Okay.
um, but yeah, no. So Bobby's back, and everybody around here is super
Oh,
excited.
we got Steve-O in here.
Oh, what's up, Steve-O?
Hope
Um,
Buffalo don't get D-Hop. I feel you. I feel you, Supremo. They need that though. They need it. But sorry, back to your Seahawks and Bobby.
oh no, you're good. Yeah, I mean, it fills a gap in our defense, and like I tell everybody, it fills a void in the defense and a void in our heart.
I
So,
would also say this. There is no better mentor to get Devin Bush, your other recent middle linebacker signing, back on track and develop his career than Bobby, in my opinion.
yeah, and I don't know if you've been watching any of my. Well, I guess I've only done one since we signed him, but yeah, that was like a huge thing. I mean, with Devin
Mhm.
Bush, he can mentor him, and Jordan Brooks.
Yep,
He's proven that.
he comes from my division. I watched him in Pittsburgh. I was a huge fan of him in the draft as well. Kind of gives me that Nolan Smith vibes. The Georgia linebacker, if I'm not mistaken, Nolan Smith, I think it is. That
Oh,
just
really?
super fast. He's Devin Bush coming out of college. I think super fast. He can move, but just I don't know. He got a little derailed in Pittsburgh and kind of lost his way. So I think y'all, that's an under the radar signing for y'all. Also pairing him with Bobby, who I think who's a
Mhm.
little bigger.
Yeah, and then I mean, Bobby's not huge, obviously.
Yeah,
I
he's not
mean,
like a huge guy.
he's stout, but Nolan Smith is a guy I think I said we might end up with, and he'll come off the edge. I think Bush they're gonna use as more of like an inside off ball
I think
linebacker.
I saw one of the most recent mock drafts today on NFL.com. Actually had one of the teams trading up somewhere around like 15 for him, if I'm not mistaken.
I looked at one today and I just shook my head because of the Seahawks trading up to 15 to pick Will Levis, and I really just I hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah, no, that's not happening.
Well, you say that, and then weird shit happens every year. But anyways, yeah.
You're not wrong though. You're not wrong.
How about Lamar, man? What do you
Oh
think?
my god,
Is he
dude.
gonna be a Seahawk? Are we gonna trade and
No, no
picks?
border knows he's going to be a 49er. It totally joking there. I mean, the whole Lamar thing. So, my God, I have to actually start with I'm going to read real quick, and I'm sorry if anyone's read this today, probably a million times, but I'm going to read verbatim what Lamar said today. A
Yeah, go ahead.
letter to my fans. I want to thank you all for the love and support you consistently show towards me. All of you are amazing, and I appreciate y'all so much. I'm gonna skip a lot of that last, like it's an introductional formal,
No, you're good.
Let me personally answer your questions in regards to my future plans. As of March 2nd, and we're on the 27th, so that was 25 days ago. I requested a trade from the Ravens organization for which the Ravens have not been interested in meeting my value. And any and everyone that's met me or been around me knows that I love the game of football, and my dream is to help a team win the Super Bowl. I mean, he is basically, again, saying that the Ravens aren't willing to meet. But what I hate about this whole situation is I went and found on his Twitter on like the 18th of this month. You know, we kind of talked about previous on his channel where he was draping in Ravens chains, wearing all his Baltimore swag. So that was post the date he requested a trade, which again, we talked about. All of that was just a show to put pressure on the Baltimore Ravens front office. And I'm telling you, I saw people burning Lamar jerseys today. Like,
oh, really?
Like, legitimately, there was a few like people that burned jerseys today because again, it just shows like he was never really trying to be here. And again, who's lying? He said this guy, he didn't know this guy. Everyone was wondering who he was. And then Lamar puts out the most weird. Did you see the workout video?
No.
Oh my God! Like
it's all. No, I did see it. The one where he's out in the park and then like randomly.
That guy that he's a business partner with, that's the guy that was contacting NFL teams.
Yeah, I did hear that.
Like, I don't know. It's just, yeah, he's in the picture on March 18th with DJ Khalid. March 18th.
Khalid.
Yeah, but I did actually. So when I was doing some research, remember last time we talked a little bit about the whole deal with Lamar post draft with the offer sheet thing.
Yeah.
So I actually think I found if an offer sheet is not executed on or before April 21st, the player's negotiating rights revert exclusively to his old team. So I think the offer sheet window is actually the 21st. So I don't think that can. Dude, I was like, we're screwed. When you said that, I was like, I mean, I've seen some hypotheticals.
I heard Mike Florio say something like that on.
Mind you, that information was hard to find, so I don't trust it 100%. So it could still go both ways, but I'm hoping it's not.
Real quick, shout out Bryant Cole.
I was just about to.
Bryant Culp, we're going on his channel on Sunday. So if you're not following him, go ahead and give him a follow. He's a avid Niner fan, just like most of the people in my comments right now.
I know
they're all super cool. I've been hanging out with them on group chats or what do you call it, like group streams on Friday on Ryan's channel. It's like a call-in show.
Yeah, you're gonna have to send me send me on Twitter like all their pages.
Oh yeah,
so I can like follow everyone.
Yeah.
Steve-O says Miami or Colts. I predicted Miami at the beginning of the season if Tua didn't play well, to be honest. I think they're excited about Mike White in Miami as the backup to Tua. Mike White's got like kind of potential.
This whole Lamar deal just doesn't make any sense to me. You think everybody would be clamoring for him? Bryant actually texted me. I don't know if he's still in here, but he DM'd me this morning, or when all this shit happened, right? When Lamar posted.
Oh yeah, like we got to talk about that on the stream. The timing of it all too, like this morning.
Yeah. So Brian texts me, he goes, let me see what he said.
Yeah, I woke up, turned on my phone, saw all the news on my feed, and I was like, no way.
What did Brian say? One sec.
Yeah. Well, for those that don't know about what happened this morning, Lamar, while John Harbaugh at the NFL owner meetings, which we said a lot of stuff's going to get done at these meetings.
You predicted that. I didn't as much as you did.
But Lamar, as John Harbaugh, walked up to the mic at 7:45 a.m. this morning, let out the tweet talking about how he had requested a trade all the way back since March 2nd. John Harbaugh didn't know it, and I watched the video. John Harbaugh, you can watch the color leave that man's face as the reporter. And what's funny, if you watch the video, I'm telling you, watch the female reporter directly behind Harbaugh. She doesn't know. She talks about it later. So she's on her other phone. She starts Googling it basically. As her face sees it, her face, mouth agape for a moment, just gasping that Lamar and the NFL analysts, this was an attack. To do it in that timing, in that essence, is nothing more than an attack on your head coach.
It took balls, and it was awesome. If you want to get something done, you might as well get something done, right?
But you know what? What owner's going to want to mess with that now?
He is taking the exact opposite approach of what Russell Wilson took last year, which Russell Wilson was behind the scenes demanding a trade, and then his team was like putting this most random shit out there, like, oh, Russell wouldn't mind going to the Broncos. Russell wouldn't mind going to the Bears. Russell wouldn't mind going to the Saints. And then he's going, man, I never wanted this. And then, but Lamar's just, I almost respect that Lamar's just like, whatever.
So in essence, yeah, but it's one of those ones, it's, as a professional, sometimes you got to kind of bite your lip sometimes and and that's like Steve-O's talking about needs the agent. I legitimately, as some of these guys might not know, I have the paperwork right now to be a sports agent here in the state of Florida. I was trying to be an NIL agent for college, trying to get in on some of that money. But, of course, with all that, though, I looked up way before this entire drama what it took to be an agent for an NFL player, basically knowing that, case in point, if I represented a football player at the University of Miami, if they went to the NFL, I kind of have to hand over everything after a certain point, But by the way, you have to have basically your master's or a law degree or equivalent 7 to 8 years of proven NFL negotiating experience as an agent. So,
well, let's say this. Let's talk trades you'd be interested in taking as the Ravens right now.
I know.
So Bryant sent me one, right?
Okay. Let me hear it.
And he goes, hot take, but I would trade Lance, Ayuk, and next year's first round for Lamar, but he has to change his number to 3 because 8 is Steve Young. So Ayuk, Trey Lance, and next year's first.
I don't know if I don't know how much that would, the trade's not terrible. I'd have to look at Ayuk's cap numbers a little bit. The first round pick next year is really enticing. And the thing is, that's going to depend on how comfortable and how much film study the Ravens did on Trey Lance, which I don't think we did any. And so I don't know if they'd really feel comfortable for a 1 year kind of because then they're going to be dealing with it again, kind of, right?
Yeah.
So I don't think so. I don't think they won't Lance. They take maybe a second, though. A second, Lance and the player. A second first and and the player.
Steve-O said, Levi, you have a huge hole in your shirt. Oh.
I do. All right. So this is a weird, I have this is like my lucky shirt to start with. I'm telling you, the amount of mountains I have climbed wearing this shirt, sweating, blood, sweat, and tears, games. I'm telling you everything. And when this hole started in my shirt, I've sewed it up once. I literally was like, yo, my team's got a hole. It's a rift. I was like, I ain't fucking sewing this shirt up till the hole in my team is healed. And I'm standing by it. I don't care.
Okay.
Weird sports superstition.
But yeah, no, how about some teams that would be interested?
I am steadily thinking Atlanta is really going to make this move.
I've been thinking Atlanta this whole time. I really have.
Especially developing these power rankings and looking at their signings
But yeah, I think a lot of the owners will be talking after this. They go, oh, well, shoot, Lamar offered a trade, or Lamar demanded a trade, 3 weeks ago?
And well, that's the thing. He's been free to talk to any team since the 15th.
I don't think anybody wants to talk to him.
And that's the thing. And that's why his friend, who's a business partner of him, I think this went also, there's so many things. What's the quarterback market for the Ravens after the draft, during the draft? And then 2, I feel like Lamar is got so much bad blood now. We talked about this last time. He went from saying, I'll play on the tag to I don't think he will. I think he will refuse to sign the tag.
I think if they held out long enough, I think that $32 million might be enough to where, he'll play on the tag, but the slightest injury to.
I'm telling you, there's a reason he's making a home gym and put up. He also took his Twitter private. So if you weren't a follower before, you can't be a follower. You can't add him now, supposedly.
Really?
And I saw an article talking about it, but you can fact check me on that. And then the second part of that is he is now promoting Lamar Jackson Business Enterprises. Mind you, of course, this is some Florida man, so that says enough about his business partner, random Florida man. which
Yeah,
I'm a Florida man
usually
now.
that don't go too well.
Yeah. As someone that, again, I've lived in a lot of different places. I got to travel a lot with the airlines. I will confidently say I have never hated living a place more than Florida. The only nice part is the fucking weather. That's the
Well,
only nice part. It's sunny most of the time.
well, you're there right now, so saying
Yeah,
something.
yeah. The drivers suck. The traffic.
I
That's
think
bad.
everybody complains about that everywhere, but
That's what
yeah,
I'm saying. I've lived a lot and I've traveled a lot. I can
I,
say to a good degree.
I could see Atlanta making up, but like Steve-O says, Miami could move up,
Mm-hmm.
or not Miami, sorry, Indianapolis could trade
If
for him,
if
and
Aaron Rodgers falls through, which I don't think so. We talked about that. I think we're just waiting until June 1st for that.
part of me kind of thinks. Did you hear what they said today?
I might not have. What is it?
I gotta check my phone real quick. Sorry.
No, that's fine. I'm actually
Should-
looking something else up.
Brian Gutekunst, the GM Green Bay, says attempts to speak with Aaron Rodgers went unanswered. So I don't know. I just saw that. I just saw the headline, obviously, but I don't know if he means right now or he's talking about before. I don't know. It seems like there's like 10 different sides to this story.
Poor Grossi. I'm telling you, I don't know what the GM of the Packers is doing. Like when I was again doing my power rankings, of course, I was kind of looking at strength of schedule, free agent signings, free agent departures, trades, a little bit of everything, and I'm just like. Because, of course, I did a video with GM of the Packers. And I'm like, we didn't do crap. If you're the Packers fan, I'm like, we had chances. We're in like we got to do something because, like I've explained, after this next year, Aaron Rodgers' deal starts hitting for a dead cap on the Packers for like 38+ million a year. Like they're going to have some issues in the future years. So, but they still have like a few 1 year, 2 year window, can roll over some cap. Like there's still some stuff they can do. And I don't know, man. Poor Packers fans.
I could see, sorry.
49er fans are going to like my power rankings.
I could see the Colts trading that 4th overall pick.
And I've talked about that before a little bit with the Colts. It's also Jim Irsay.
Mm-hmm.
He is. It's just like some owners. We all know the Raiders love combine guys, speed freak guys. Irsay is all about quarterback. Matt Ryan, Carson Wentz. All the way back after Peyton Manning with Andrew Luck and just everything that's happened since. He is so about finding a quarterback.
Well, it has to. That's the only time they've won.
Yeah.
The only time they've won is when they had a top flight quarterback.
I still think a dark horse is also the Lions. I think they're a serious dark horse, man. Because Baltimore, I'm telling you this also, Baltimore doesn't want to make the trade unless it's to an NFC team. Baltimore doesn't want to put why would you want to put Lamar in the AFC? Why? Why would you want to play him, basically? If they're going to trade him, that's not like because, of course, I believe that they can do some deal where Lamar signs the franchise tag and then they work out a separate trade, if I'm not mistaken. So it could be less than 2 first-rounders, which would be awful for the Baltimore Ravens.
I don't think it's going to be less than 2 first-rounders, personally. I mean, you're able to get 2 first-rounders for Russell Wilson. Why wouldn't you be able to for Lamar Jackson?
Because the bad blood. Lamar is not taking this in a professional manner. Like it's just so hard for me because I've always loved Lamar. I have been such a defender of Lamar when he came out of college and everyone called him a running back. But I've also, of course, healthily criticized Lamar, in my opinion. So it just kills me to watch all of this unfold that, on my opinion, both sides have slightly mishandled the situation.
Yeah, I don't know. The whole Russ thing, I think, was...
Oh, we got one of my Raven fans in here.
Yeah, I saw that. What up, Gunny? My thing with the whole Lamar thing is it's almost parallel to the Russell Wilson thing, except the Russell Wilson thing was behind closed doors.
Yep.
They both didn't handle it professionally. Russell Wilson or Lamar both didn't handle it professionally, but Russell kept his mouth shut and let his team 3 do the talking. So
Gunny, I think, has been in my chat several times where I think I said when Lamar made his comments previously that they were aimed more at John Harbaugh than EDC. And again, with the press timing today earlier, it just rings so true. Like, yeah, I'm excited though for this draft. The Texans and the Raiders both have 12 picks. Rams, Patriots, 49ers, 11 picks. How did y'all pull that off, 49er fans? Like, how did you get 11 picks?
I think a lot of them, they have a bunch of comp picks.
Yeah.
For coaches that got hired elsewhere.
This is sad for Ravens. I think this is like the first year we don't get a single comp pick, like first time in our history. And of course, like I think if I'm not mistaken, we lead all teams in comp picks, if I'm not mistaken. And we're of course only been in existence since '96.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. How about these power rankings? Want to get into them or?
Let's do it. I'm so excited, honestly. Of course, like I ended up doing mine slightly different than Joe over here, but we like Joe's better, in my opinion.
No, we don't.
I do. I do.
Let me know what you agree with and disagree with, because I think you're going to disagree with a few of them. You know?
I think so too, honestly, because like I said, I did mine in a stack of AFC versus NFC. Preview 49er fans, I have y'all coming in number one in the NFC. I think those draft picks are going to tell a huge story.
Can't give it away to them. You gotta let them.
I gotta tease them. I gotta tease them a little.
Yeah, you gotta tease them.
I'm gonna explain why I think they're gonna end up number one.
Okay, I got 32. I got the Cardinals. I don't know what the deal is with the Cardinals. They don't. Kyler's not gonna play at least the first half of the season. DeAndre Hopkins wants out. I don't know. I just don't see a whole lot there.
Yeah, there's been a lot of going on in Call of Duty, so I don't have a lot of faith in Kyle Murray.
No, he's got his he's got his I think it's an ACL or something.
Yeah, and we've talked about sometimes those ACL injuries can kind of like lead to some accuracy problems, especially their first year back. Like,
and he seems like a guy. I talked to this before. He seems like a guy. If he doesn't have to come back, I don't think he will come back.
I mean, who's their backup quarterback? Is really like
Colt McCoy. So that's what I mean. They're heading into the season with Colt McCoy, and I can't name very many players on the Cardinals roster, which is sad because they're in our own division. So
yeah, they've got I think an okay defense, if I'm not mistaken, but I've got them also pretty low on my NFC ranking. They're coming in 14, so basically kind of bottom the NFL. I'm right there with you. I've got two NFC teams I think are going to be worse, but we'll find those here. I'm guessing shortly.
Okay. 31, I got the Rams.
Ooh. Now what's funny is I have them right above the Arizona in my rankings, so I'm with you on that.
This might piss some people off. It'll be different if we know for sure that Stafford's coming back, right? Because they don't have a first-round pick this year because they traded for Stafford. It seems like they're having to cut bait with every star player because they owe them so much money. They traded Ramsey already. They're shopping Allen Robinson. I think the only 3 players that they're not willing to part with are Aaron Donald, Cooper Kupp, and Matt Stafford.
Also, strength of schedule currently at this moment, number 9 is the Rams. So on top of all these questions, they might have a really hard schedule this year.
Yeah.
And again, like you said, it's just what have they done? You know, they haven't really done a whole lot. Cooper Kupp's on the trading block. He might get moved during the draft.
I don't think they're going to let him go.
You know, it's going to be a little interesting just because they do have 11 picks total. So they don't have that first round, but they do have a lot of picks. So it's kind of funny, though. Is McVay still the coach over there?
Yeah.
He said, fuck them picks, and now he's got 11 of them.
Yeah, exactly. But they're all later round. You know, it's not like they whatever.
Yeah, and I agree. Baltimore Gunny said Lamar's antics have just been weird lately. He's been hanging out too much in Florida. As someone that lives here in Florida, he's been hanging out here too much.
Yeah.
I also did call it. I literally called the rift with our quarterback coach, James Urban. And then, yep. And I called that because, he wouldn't listen to James Urban, but he has his own private quarterback coach somewhere around here that he really listens to. And again, if you're not improving your mechanics, there's an issue, but whatever.
Yeah, no, I got you.
Who's you got at 30?
30. Okay. Indianapolis Colts. And this is kind of obviously like a pre-draft power rankings, right? Like we don't know what they're going to do.
Way too early, like kind of.
We can only assume. They got the 4th overall pick. I mean, they're probably going to get a quarterback. probably, even if they trade
But
up.
again, what have they done?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. They haven't done much. And the lower half of these power rankings are going to be kind of boring, obviously.
one of their better wide receivers, Paris Campbell, I don't think has signed anywhere yet. He's been a popular name in a lot of free agent signings. I don't know if he has signed yet.
But
Kind of speedster.
But yeah, a lot of these lower ones will be kind of boring, right? Because it's like,
and I do have the Colts as my number 16 in the AFC, worst in the AFC. So,
okay, yeah, perfect. So, I mean, what if
it's just like you said, even though they have possibly the 4th overall pick and they get a quarterback, that quarterback is going to be running for his life and have no weapons.
And who knows if Jonathan Taylor comes back and is the same thing he was 2 years ago, right?
He's been mentioned trade block, quite a few trades as well. Like
29, I got the Commanders. They're another team that just doesn't do a whole lot for me.
That was another one. I've got them as number 15. I actually have them seated under Arizona on mine.
Okay.
I like you kind of said again. What are they doing?
Yeah, they signed the only move that I've even heard. I'm sure if you said something to me, it popped. But
they tagged Payne.
Yeah, they have a solid front seven. They signed one of our inside linebackers. He wasn't very good. I mean, they paid him a little bit of money, not a lot at all. I think it was like $3 million or something like that. But Washington just does something until they change their owner. They're probably going to be in the bottom of everything, no matter what.
And I absolutely agree with that. Actually, looking at strength of schedule currently, they are listed number 8 ahead of the Rams. So they've got again a really hard schedule potentially coming up as well. They signed the tackle from the Chiefs. Tagged Deron Payne. Other than that, some like okay moves here and there, and of course they have the wide receiver. Oh my gosh,
Scary Terry.
Yeah, thank you, Terry McLaurin.
Yeah, but we'll just see, because it's one of those where it's like, I think until they sell the team, they're going to be stuck down near towards the middle of the bottom the whole time.
I really agree. I'm interested to see too, because when the owner comes in, everyone knows that's the worst stadium in the NFL. So whatever owner is going to come in, they're going to want them to spend a lot of money to like turn everything that, because that report card was bad about the Commanders, which also raises the question: are they building a new stadium, or are they going to move?
Oh, they'll build a new stadium. Probably, I think we talked about this, where RFK Stadium
a little bit,
in DC. But I guess I heard Florio talking earlier with Pro Football Talk. I listen to him quite a bit. And he said, what if that's Dan Snyder's last move, just a big FU to the rest of the league? Give Lamar fully guaranteed money and say, if it's not on me.
And it goes to the NFC. The Ravens would love it. But the thing is, no matter what, that money. So I actually heard an interesting comment. I was listening to someone, I forgot who it was, and they were talking about when you, like, case in point, if you wanted to give Lamar, or had to give Lamar that fully guaranteed contract as the owner of the team, you basically, let's say he got $250 million guaranteed. You have to take $250 million of your own money at that point and throw it into an escrow account, essentially, which, and some people have said Steve Biscotti's a cheap owner. I don't buy into that. But for an owner that is struggling with money, they might not be willing to do that. But if they sell the team, they might be able to legally pass the debt on, potentially. I'm not sure how all that works, but that's a very interesting scenario. I actually really like that, because I could see Dan Snyder doing it.
Is he the owner of the Ravens?
Yeah, he's the owner of the Ravens.
See, I thought
he said he'll only sell the team to the right owner.
See, I thought the owner of the Ravens was that guy's family who died, the guy that moved him from Baltimore.
Jim Brown. No, not Jim Brown.
No, the guy that moved him from Cleveland. Sorry.
I thought it was Brown, but no.
No, the guy that moved him from Cleveland. Art Modell.
Yeah, Modell. Thank you. Oh my God. Art Modell. No, Art Modell sold the team to Steve Biscotti. What year was it?
I think they died, or Modell died, obviously, and he still owned the team. So somebody else must have bought it from his family or something. Anyways, 28. I don't remember who we got here. Got the Bears.
Oh, I know you don't like the Bears.
Like I said, I'm tired of everybody riding their dicks. Show me something. They got a bunch of draft picks. They're really set up for the future, but who knows if they're going to do
I've
anything.
got the Bears in my power rankings on the NFC side, right dead smack middle, 8 out of 16.
Okay.
I'm not 100% sold on them. And again, like when I started really looking at the divisions, because of course division games are going to play a lot into this strength of schedule.
Mhm.
So real quick, the bottom 5 strength schedule. So easiest schedule as of right now: Falcons, Saints, Texans, Colts, Titans. Top 5 hardest schedules: Eagles, Dolphins, Giants, Patriots, Cowboys. Your Seattle Seahawks are, where are you? Number 12, so kind of right dead in the middle. My Baltimore Ravens are 21, so we've got a little bit of an easier schedule this upcoming year.
I just don't have faith in the Bears. Everybody's riding their dicks right now, and
it's one of those ones, they made decent moves. So I mean, all right, you've got now DJ Moore, who I've always been a fan of. I wanted him to come to Baltimore way back when. Paired up with what's his name from Pittsburgh? Oh my God, Claypool. Thank you, Chase Claypool. So Chase Claypool, DJ Moore. Their defense, I mean, they made some really good signings there. TJ Edwards, Tremaine Edmonds, like they
at
linebacker
they did, yeah.
Exactly. Nate Davis, the offensive guard, 3-year deal, pretty solid. They re-signed one of their tight ends that I was a fan of when I went over their roster.
Who was it? Komet?
Robert Tonyan. I think he was a restricted free. Yeah, I think he was restricted free.
He was with the Packers.
Oh, you're right. And actually, in my plan, I think I had him staying with the Packers, but he left. They made some good signings, and they've got 10 draft picks still.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
I actually do still have them technically finishing 3rd in their division. So even though I have them higher, I still have them finishing 3rd in their division. I'm interested. I'm excited to talk about that later.
Okay.
Who do we got? 27.
Falcons.
Let me ask you, with that, where do the Falcons finish in the NFC South? First, second, third, or
last.
Really? Okay.
Obviously, I mean they're 27th on my board right here. I don't trust who they have in quarterback. Now, if they trade for Lamar, they probably move from 27 to 13.
And that's, again, I have this deep belief they're gonna do it. And so, all right, since we're talking a little bit about Atlanta, I have Atlanta first in the South, but I have them total on the NFC side 9th. So right behind the Bears. That's my belief in them. So, I mean, not too far from yours, actually.
No, but way off. Same.
I know, like, exactly. But, Desmond Ridder coming out of Cincinnati. There was a lot of eyes on Cincinnati because, Sauce Gardner was coming out of Cincinnati. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people were at that pro day, a lot of eyes, but, you can't help but look at them. So I did some digging on Ridder. So from week 15 to 18, when he started, he was actually, now the QBR is not good, 49.7, but across the NFL, that was 14th, which says a lot. He didn't throw an interception. Only him and Jared Goff were the only people in that time span to not throw an interception. His completion percentage was 63.5%. He also faced some of the best defenses in Arizona, Tampa, New Orleans, and Baltimore last season.
So were those 4 starts his only starts?
Yes. He didn't start till later in the season.
That's another thing, is like back then they don't have a lot of tape on him.
Yep. But that's also, he was, getting his first feet wet. The big thing I think is going to be the big story here is this. I found this one. So we know about Drake London, the former USC wide receiver, like 6'5" almost. He was unstoppable. Mind you, also, while he did all this, he didn't have Kyle Pitts, their former top 5 tight end pick.
Yeah.
He was out for the season. So out of Drake London's total 866 yards last season, 333 of those yards literally came over that 4-week span.
Oh, wow.
They apparently, looking at the numbers, he was targeted higher and had a 11.4% higher completion percentage than when he had with Marcus Mariota. So he was more confident throwing to London, and he gave the ball and got it to London way more often. He had a 68.6% third down completion percentage. Like he showed potential and he got better every game. But I remember his first game was bad. I had a lot of hope for him and it did not go well.
And we'll see how this stuff. Obviously, I'll move everything.
And also,
around.
they have, like I said, they have the easiest schedule in the NFL next year as of right now.
Okay.
And that was a big part in mine why I'm like, okay, they might actually finish the first, at least in their division. But still the pack team. Lamar takes them to the Super Bowl, though.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe. If he doesn't miss the final 6 games.
You got the Broncos at 26.
I have the Broncos finishing last in the West.
You think that Sean Payton's going to turn around a little bit? Or I don't really see it with that. With how it out of touch that team was last year. I just until they prove me wrong, they're still going to be in the bottom.
I'm with you on that. Like, I really am. Actually, I think I did have them finishing. Actually, had the Chargers. I think, like, kind of like you have the Chargers ranked last. The Chargers, in my opinion, are going to finish last in the West. I think the Denver's going to finish just ahead of them, behind the Raiders, and of course KC. I don't have faith. I don't have faith. Even though Sean Payton's there, even though they've made some decent signings, like
I just don't see him doing it with Russ at quarterback after what we saw last year.
I'm like, I know they've got some plan, but you know, they signed, of course, Ben Powers away from us. They took Mike McClinchy from the 49ers. They made some good signings to help protect Russ.
Listen, but I don't know. You watch those games, and it's not.
Jerry Jeudy's on the trading block, for example. Who's Russ going to be throwing to
if
he gets traded?
They said, I guess Sean Payton came out yesterday and said that Jeudy and Sutton they're planning on them going forward, but who knows
exactly
the truth to that. But
I don't have a lot of faith in them either. I think they just kind of always have some type of issue.
And then if you look at the sacks that Russ takes last year, he's holding the ball too long. Not half of them, but I mean, a lot of the sacks are his fault. He holds the ball way too long.
I definitely think Sean Payton's going to help that problem because Sean Payton runs a lot of West Coast schemes, which pass fast, which is what you ran in Seattle mostly, though, which, again, he started holding the ball too long even in Seattle.
Yeah, so, he's been doing it for a while.
Sean Payton's going to be a genius, or we're all going to be laughing that they traded picks for him.
Exactly.
Which I think that might be kind of the case because they're still going to finish third in their division.
Yeah, I think they're still going to finish fourth, but
well, I'm sorry. The Chargers. Yeah, you've got the Chargers third. So technically, the Chargers would finish last in the division.
You think I don't have the Chargers up there yet? I just got the Rams.
Oh, that's the Rams. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
I know my screen's probably blurry, but
no, not at all. It's not at all. I'm just
brain fart.
Yeah.
Tampa.
I've got Tampa as my number bottom NFC. I don't have any faith in Tampa.
Okay. Yeah, I don't either. That's the thing. Signing when you sign Baker Mayfield with with really no competition for that quarterback one spot, it seems, at least from an outsider's perspective, and keep in mind most of these, except for one team, is going to be a total outsider's perspective, but things don't look good.
They have signed in free agency in total so far the same amount of players I have on my hand. 5, including Baker. You know what I'm saying? And they re-signed Levante David. Cool. And Jamal Dean. Okay, those are cool. 2 really good defensive stars. But just I don't have faith in Baker. And then if you look at how many players they've lost, and that are or currently free agents that they're just trying to find a way to sign everyone. I think they're going to have a horrible year. They're going to be looking for the first overall pick to draft a quarterback.
Caleb Williams.
Yeah, I was about to say they're looking to take Caleb Williams next year. Tampa is tanking for Caleb.
I think the Rams might be taking Caleb Williams next year.
I mean, it wouldn't be a bad idea.
I mean, this is so early. I could look like a total dumbass.
Exactly. That's what we're saying. This is way too early power rankings. We haven't even had the draft yet.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a big power rankings fan.
So. And I definitely think there's going to still be a few more trades before the season starts. And I really think, depending on the start of seasons, we're going to see a few more trades before the trade deadline.
Well, yeah, and especially big ones like where's DeAndre Hopkins going to go? Because he's not going to be in
Mhm.
Arizona anymore.
Case in
Where's
point, that's the entire free or wide receiver. I like, my God.
where's Lamar going? And I'm still
Mhm.
not sold on. I was sold last week, but I'm not as sold on Aaron Rodgers to the Jets because it seems like there's just so much drama there. So
And like poor Packers fans, because like what happens there if Rodgers doesn't get traded? Is he gonna play another year in Green Bay?
oh,
No.
that would be so awesome.
Like he would absolutely just rather probably he would probably retire. Is actually what he would do. He would retire, absolutely.
Yeah, I
Um,
don't know,
there's
but
no way after like he told like the Jets to go get Lazard from the Packers to then go back and play for the Packers. Like
that'd be hilarious.
I I don't know. I think though either way that the Jets are going to be in a good situation. Case in
We'll
point, if the
see.
Jets don't get their guy, like between Rodgers, like say what's, and I really do say, like I said, I think the whole Rodgers thing is just they're waiting for June 1st. But if it's not, you don't think the Jets would not trade somebody to go get a quarterback potentially?
Yeah, they've been talking about it, but we'll see. We'll see
Yeah.
if say Lamar gets traded or signs a long term deal with the Baltimore Ravens. They're
I've got the
screwed
Jets pretty high on my list.
if this Rodgers deal falls through, right? They're screwed.
Yep. I'm telling you too, I think Stetson Bennett to Baltimore is almost a guaranteed thing at this point in the
That's what you
draft,
were
by
saying.
the way. Yeah, I've said it, and like just the way everything's going, because of course you're going to be able to get him for a non-first round pick. So I could see Baltimore trading out of the first round entirely because we only have 5 picks.
Mhm.
So I could see that happening, and I could possibly see a few more trades. I think we're trying to move a guy named Tyus Bowser to create some cap space. It's not that like we want to move Tyus. It's just if we move him, we get a good amount of space, and he's a pretty good linebacker. I think he'd actually do better at a 4-3, to be honest with you. But
Mhm. Yeah, 24, I got the Houston Texans just because, like I said, show me something. They'll get
yeah,
a they'll get a quarterback in the draft, but other than that quarterback, who do they have? Laramie Tunsil.
so man, the Houston was a hard one for me to seriously like evaluate. To be honest with you,
Okay.
I actually have them on my AFC side at number 9. I have this feeling. So again, looking at schedule, strength of
Mhm.
schedule, they're 30th. So they have one of the easiest schedules coming up, which you couldn't ask for anything better than that. We know with a rookie quarterback. Hold on, I want to like find my actual things here for them. My apologies.
Well, a lot of the teams that finished fourth place last year, obviously they'll have the fourth place schedule, right?
And they're going to make the playoffs because I mean, just look at that division. Like, what is that division? Indianapolis, like we just talked about, we've got them number 30 on the list. Jacksonville, of course, I think is going to win the division, but Tennessee, I think Tennessee is going to take a massive step backwards this year.
Yeah,
Again,
we'll
what have
see.
they done?
Yeah, you'll see up here coming pretty quick. So
But looking at the Texans, I want to highlight some moves here though. I think signing Devin Singletary to a 1-year, $3.75 million deal, steal.
mhm.
I think the Robert Woods deal, which I think he's former Rams,
Yeah,
USC wide receiver, if I'm not mistaken. I followed him coming out of college. Decent
yeah,
route runner, but very solid hands. Gave him a little too much money, 7 million basically average, but whatever. Dalton Schultz, they signed the tight end. Okay, another good one. Laramie Tunsil, they extended his ass, which is going to free up money early, but he's played well. The under
mhm.
the radar move, they traded for Shaq Mason from Tampa, who's one of the best guards in the NFL.
Yeah,
They then went and they re-signed Scott Kessenberry, who people thought was going to hit free agency, a decent center. And then they went and signed a lot of like smaller defensive guys that Denzel Perryman, decent guy. Jimmy Ward, the safety,
yeah.
uh,
Jimmy Ward's good. Yeah,
defensive lineman Sheldon Rankings. Like they made, and then of course they brought in Lovie Smith, who is a defensive minded coach. I think they have some potential. Of course, they're going to go get their quarterback of the future. After that, they have 12 picks or 11 picks after that quarterback pick. That's a lot to fill that roster, and that's a lot of signings. And they still have more cap space. They're not done. Like,
yeah, we'll see.
I think that team's going to round out.
I don't know how much I trust them just because, like I said, this is so
That's why I've
early.
got them finishing behind Jacksonville still, but like middle of the pack AFC, ninth, technically on the AFC side.
Yeah, no, it wouldn't surprise me at all. And this,
I think just good defensive football is going to keep them competitive.
Especially, I'd say really anywhere between like 6 and 23. We never know what's going to happen, right?
I'm going to tell you right now, if you got fantasy football, Devin Singletary is probably going to be a really good thing this year, running behind Shaq Mason. And
well, how about Dameon Pierce?
Oh, it's very true.
Yeah,
it's just which one stays healthy. Singletary has, I think, a pretty good. But I think Singletary might see more passes his way than Pierce potentially. I don't really know Pierce a whole well, but I think Pierce is a good one-step cut kind of guy.
He runs
which is kind of Singletary's, but Singletary doesn't have that oomph behind him that Pierce does. Pierce will isn't he the one that had his helmet taken off and just kept running?
Well, he did something. I don't know. He runs
college, I think it was. Was he Florida? University of Florida?
I have no idea, dude. To be completely honest with you.
Let's see. I want to go see what Steve-O said. Come on, Colts just had a bad year. Had like 7 Pro Bowlers year before.
And they said Panthers must be first. LOL. Steve-O jokes around a lot, but I think he might have been serious about the Colts. I just don't see him. It seems like such a mess over there.
And see, I don't think Lamar wants to go to Indianapolis because, again, who's his wide receivers? Campbell doesn't even want to come back because there's no quarterback. Now, of course, if Lamar ends up there, man, does DeAndre somehow end up there? Campbell probably Harris Campbell probably resigns.
Yeah, let's move to 23.
Yeah. Sorry.
Oh no, you're good. I got the Titans.
Tennessee, right? Yeah.
Which sucks too because I actually really like the Titans. I like the way they play offense. I like the way they play defense.
I love Derrick Henry.
Yeah, exactly. But the thing is, their quarterback's a very well. Last year he was kind of below average. I say he's like an average.
Malik Davis, the Liberty University kid, right?
Malik Willis.
Thank you. I did that last time too on our last podcast.
Yeah, he did not show it. And then Tannehill, who knows if he's going to even be on the roster.
Tannehill was supposed to always be a bridge quarterback, kind of, and he played above what he was supposed to be. That's great. Year. Exactly. But that's he was supposed to be the bridge guy.
The reason they're so low is because just the fact that they ended so poorly.
Mm-hmm. I just don't have a lot of faith in Malik. I hate to be that person when I studied him.
I don't either because you watch him play, and you're like, dude, it looks like
I spent time in Lynchburg, Virginia, right outside of Liberty University. And Liberty University is someone I also know because Coastal Carolina's head coach is over there now, and I think the quarterback transferred as well or is trying to. It's just one of those ones. The lower level of competition, yes, he is a physical specimen. That man is let's be honest.
Mm-hmm.
But
so was Tim Tebow.
Quarterbacking is more than that in the NFL. Quarterback is a lot. I'll be the first one to say I don't think I can play quarterback. I've tried. The chaos of what the actual serious pocket is.
Yeah, let alone the National Football League.
And then making reads. Everyone's you got 290-pound defensive linemen running 4.5 40s.
Yeah.
It's a different game now. You hear the retired guys all the time. They're like, man, I'm glad I'm retired when I retired because these guys are.
Well, it's just how they evolve and train, right?
Exactly.
The technology and then the study. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, honestly, if they would have had the technology and the workout routines that we have now, it'd be the same back in the day. But yeah, obviously, if a player came in from 1985 that worked out the same way that they did,
I'm with you on this. I think Tennessee, I like them, but I think they're going to take a step back. They're ranked actually 15th on the AFC, so second to last, just ahead of the Colts on mine. Okay. So we're kind of similar in that sense because I think that's you got the Texans though. Other than the Texans, we're basically kind of other than the numbers, ranking wise, kind of similar, I guess.
Yeah.
Kind of funny.
22, I got the Browns. I think it was a dumb move trading for Watson, and part of me is almost just rooting against Deshaun Watson. I don't want to see him succeed after all that stuff.
I'm so conflicted on it because, of course, if he did it, he's a fucking awful human being. Like, and I don't know. It's one of those ones. It's hard to like, but no matter what, in that regards too, I see so many people. Oh, well, just give Lamar the money. You can always restructure the contract. If he was cut after this season for the next 3 years, let's put this in perspective. Aaron Rodgers will hit the Packers for like $38 million per season dead cap. Deshaun Watson's going to hit for like 63 million dead cap hits, no matter what.
Yeah, because it is guaranteed, and it's going to be that.
And that's the restructure. They moved it all to later years, and it's all guaranteed. So there's no, like I said, unless they got some dirt on him, like, I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm with you though.
Where do you got them ranked?
I've got them ranked 10th. I've got them just below the Texans. I think Deshaun, people are like, oh, Deshaun looked good last. Yo, did you actually watch Deshaun Watson play? He did not look good. His numbers were not good. Like,
he looked absolutely terrible. The only reason they beat the Texans that game is because they scored on defense and special teams.
Exactly. Like, so I've got them ranked 10th on the AFC. I've actually got the Broncos below them. I have that little faith in the Broncos.
Who
you got?
The Raiders.
The Raiders.
Where you got them?
I've got them actually 8th, right ahead of the Texans.
Okay.
I think the Raiders, they were one originally. I ranked them lower. I actually had the Chargers finish, or I'm sorry, Denver finishing ahead of them. And then I started looking at the draft picks again. And like I said, they're the only other team other than the Texans with 12 draft picks.
And I think what they're going to do with the draft, like I said, I kind of left the draft out of mine, obviously, because I don't know what anybody's going to do during the draft. I mean, we have an idea with the first 2 teams, but then really after that, it's kind of a crapshoot, right? Guessing who's going to go where. Like I said, I could really see the Raiders trading up, taking Anthony Richardson at number 3, just because it seems like a Raiders thing to do, but I don't think it's smart to do it.
And it's the thing, like, I don't have any real faith in Garoppolo. I don't know if
and I've been talking to a lot of 49ers fans lately, and you should see how happy they are that he's gone.
Exactly. I'm like, and of course, Darren Waller was traded.
Yeah, I did. I actually forgot about that.
Which, of course, we talked about a little bit, though, with the addition of O.J. Howard. I called that actually potentially like a little sneak sign because high upside, but the dude has never lived up to his potential since being a first-round pick, in my opinion.
He destroyed the Seahawks, I think, his rookie year. But, I mean, we don't play tight ends well anyway. We never have.
I mean, when you look at it, Amir Abdullah, a decent running back, pretty good runner. Josh Jacobs, who knows if he actually I don't know if he signed the tag yet. He could sit out if he wanted to.
No, he's going to play.
They also brought in Austin Hooper, another tight end that has some decent upside. They signed a lot of like smaller name guys too. Marcus Epps was a pretty good signing at safety. But the Jacoby Myers. So here's the thing that doesn't make sense. If I remember, Jacoby Myers, if I remember looking at the stats, played almost all of his, like 60% of his snaps from the slot, which is where Hunter Renfrow plays from. They've got Jacoby Myers because, of course, the Josh McDaniels connection. But that's the problem. They have 2 guys that play the exact same role. So is Hunter going to be potentially on the move after? Because they also signed Jacoby to a 3-year deal. They just signed Hunter to a 3-year extension as well, like a year ago, if I'm not mistaken. But also they signed Philip Dorsett, the former speed guy from Indianapolis.
Yeah, so he played for us for half a year, and he was hurt the whole year.
Exactly, he's always had injury issues. Like,
yeah, I'm done with him. But let's move to 20. I hate talking about the Raiders. I think Jimmy G. Jimmy G was a fraud.
That was such a bogus move. Like if they had done something better than Jimmy G, my God, would that team had potential? Like,
you mean like
Lamar,
Derek Carr or something?
You traded an average quarterback for an average quarterback, and I don't have faith in Derek Carr in the NFC
exactly,
South.
and that's why my number 20 is the New Orleans Saints.
Yeah. I've got the Saints
and
finishing third in the South myself, just ahead of Tampa.
And these two could flip flop with me because I think the only difference is Carr is a little bit better than Garoppolo.
Exactly. Like,
And
what is the plan down there?
Who knows? They have Jamal Williams, right? And he's a big power back, but who knows if Kamara is going to even play the first half of the season? Nobody knows. So, anyways,
I'm with you on that. You know, you got Derek Carr. They kept Michael Thomas. That's cool, but he's been slowly on a decline.
Like, not because he hasn't played in 3 years.
That's what I'm saying. He's been on a decline for like a while. Like they had done nothing, and they were in cap hell. They had to clear a lot of cap, and none of these signings, in my opinion. Again, I have Tampa finishing at the bottom, but I could easily flip the Saints and Tampa, in my opinion, on my board.
I mean, they got a first round pick from Denver, but it was for Sean Payton, but it was 28th. It's basically second.
Exactly. It's not much, you know. And they they had Jarvis Landry last year. What a waste. He hasn't been re-signed because they can't afford it. They lost Marcus Davenport, one of their best edge rushers. They lost Shy Tuttle, one of their defensive linemen. Like, they got overhauled, bro. All right, but Panthers. Oh, that's a rough one.
Why?
I love the Panthers.
You do?
They're my second team.
But
I do have them actually only number 10 on my NFC side, so not that much love. I do have them actually finishing second in the NFC South, but it's just a weak division, in my opinion, this year.
Yeah, let's see. On my division, I have them finishing second as well, if you see that.
Let's go.
Yeah, but their team suck. So, I mean, let's see. Maybe they'll get a rookie that can turn around. I don't like how much they traded for the first overall pick, but
we talked about that. I don't agree with that. Now, but so the Panthers, I originally actually had the Saints finishing higher when I was doing this, and I even have it here on my notes. I flipped them because I started looking at it, and I looked at their free agents, and I said, oh, man, actually re-looking at the free agents, that offense might be kind of explosive with a rookie quarterback. So, again, of course, I looked into this a little too much. They have a really easy schedule. They're 27th easiest schedule next year. You know, they've still got some moves. But so, okay, they lost Christian McCaffrey. Cool. They went and took Miles Sanders on a 4-year deal that was not terrible from the Eagles. Sanders is kind of like a fast guy outside running zone while also some pass catching. A cheaper version of Christian McCaffrey, not as good. Knockoff. They just recently. Oh, go ahead.
No, it's fine. I just didn't want to forget. I didn't even realize. Yeah, I got them first in the division. So.
Ooh, and see, I have a little more faith in Atlanta, and I kind of have a feeling Atlanta's gonna.
You see, I didn't. I totally missed the Buccaneers I had up there. Yeah, I guess I got them going first in the division.
But so I mean, the wide receiver. Yes, they lost DJ Moore. They stole Adam Thielen from the Vikings, which I think Thielen still has value.
Yeah, he's a little older, but yeah, he still produced last year. So
DJ Chark from Jacksonville, deep threat guy, combine guy, a lot of potential, but he signed for 1 year, $5 million, so nothing. But talk about a downhill or downfield threat there. They went and took one of my favorite tight ends in free agency from the Bengals, Hayden Hurst, the former first-round pick of my Ravens from USC.
Yep.
Signed him to a deal. Okay. Chark, Thielen, and Hayden Hurst with Miles Sanders. Okay, that's some pretty decent weapons. Then they re-signed our former center, Bradley Bozeman, who is always a great center. And then, defensively, they did pretty well last season with their interim coach. They went and took the safety from the Bengals, Shy Tuttle from the Saints. Okay. And then they also signed a guard as well, Justin McCray, which I think he's decent. So, I mean, they took care of offensive line and the skilled offensive positions. They've got potential. It's really going to depend on who that first-round pick is and how well they play.
Yeah, exactly.
But I could flip them with Atlanta 100%, especially if Atlanta does not trade for Lamar. I could see them taking the division, actually.
Let's, yeah.
I'm sorry if I'm slowing you down.
No.
I'm just excited about it all.
No, don't be at all. It's totally fine. I just, no, sorry.
Jimmy G, the savior of the Raiders franchise.
Who said that? Sorry, I'm not on the chat.
Baltimore Gunny.
Oh yeah,
joking, of course.
He's gonna love if there's still any Niners fans in there. They're all gonna love that. They've been making fun of it. Like they call him James Richard Garoppolo.
Dude, that was the most head scratching. In my opinion, that's one of those ones where the ego of Josh McDaniels is kind of like, yeah, I could do this with the backup quarterback that, like, you know, because of course he was like the backup head coach almost essentially to Belichick. Garoppolo was the backup quarterback. So I feel like this is kind of like an ego move for McDaniels. We'll
see. None of McDaniels' moves, ego driven or not, have worked. So
yeah, no, exactly. That's why I don't have a lot of faith in the Raiders.
But
I do and I don't, I guess.
Let's go to 18. I put this together last night. So especially these kind of middle tier teams, I have no idea what I got.
Oh, it's so rough.
Yeah. I got the Patriots.
Oh. Have you seen the news today?
About McCorkle Jones?
I read recently Robert Kraft had some statements about his starting quarterback situation. Basically, really not committing to Mac Jones. I think if Zap comes in at the start of the season and really shows that he's the guy like preseason, Mac Jones is one of the ones that I could see on the waiver for like before the season ends. Someone that's looking for a quarterback, maybe an injury. I think Mac Jones before the trade deadline this next season gets traded from the Patriots to clear cap space, because why would you not want to go with Bailey Zapp, an undrafted rookie free agent, basically, or a low pick, whatever he is.
We'll see. I'm not sold on that. I think they're spoiled for such a long time with their quarterback that they kind of forget what it's like to have a mid-tier quarterback. So I
think though is they either just did or Mac Jones's 5th-year option is going to be coming up. I think
it'll be coming up next year.
That's what I think, and that's why I'm saying I could see him traded, because that 5th-year option is good money. Like,
dude, I'd take Mac Jones to be, if I was one of these teams, if I was the Saints, I'd take Mac Jones over Carr, probably just because of the potential that's there,
What kills me about Mac is something I have problems with some other quarterbacks. I want to see better deep balls. I love the deep ball. And that's with Zap, dude, you see the ball explode off his throwing hand. Like, there's a lot more velocity. So Mac Jones is great because he's so good at timing and these timing throws. But it's one of those ones, I want a quarterback that can do that, but I also want a quarterback that can really deliver the ball. And when I watch Mac, I'm like, that it's not there. And that's why I kind of like Zap more, but I'm not hating on Mac. Like, it's a preference in my opinion.
Yeah, and they look identical. So
I've actually got New England finishing 6th in mine. I think
6th in the AFC.
I think they've made some moves and they're not done yet.
Well, you can never.
They've got 11 picks in the draft, mind you. By the way, I want you to know that they've got 11 picks in the draft.
Well, and when you have a great head coach like that, you can never really completely count a team out. Look at the Seahawks last year. Everybody had them down at 31 or 32 or 30, and then look where they finished.
And, if you don't mind, again, looking at their free agents, it's one of those ones. Again, I had them lower, and then I looked at their free agents, and I said, okay, wait a minute. We talked about Juju a little bit. I'm not a huge fan of Juju, but Juju is actually a good run blocking wide receiver.
Yeah, all the Steelers wide receivers.
James Robinson, I actually like watching him run. Their former tight ends they signed. I have a friend that's a huge Patriots fan.
Mm-hmm.
I told him I hate all your tight ends. They went and got Mike Gesicki from Miami. I like.
Yeah, Gesicki. I did think I see that. I like Gesicki as well.
They went and took the offensive tackle Riley Reif, former Iowa Hawkeye. I like him. They went in. Of course, I did not expect them to re-sign Jonathan Jones. That was a huge part, re-signing him. Then they also went and agreed to revise terms with Jalen Mills, who's actually a really good slot corner.
Yeah, he was, especially back in the day.
And so when I looked at that offensive line retool with a little bit of the change in the weapons, the tight end wide receiver, slot wide receiver, basically, and with 11 picks, I said, man, New England. But I also think that's going to be the strongest division in football this year by far, the AFC.
Well, we'll see. It depends if Rodgers goes there.
Especially like it really depends on the quarterback situation, like you're saying for the Jets. But whether it's Lamar, Aaron,
there's two big dominoes to fall, right? And they're probably the biggest ones yet.
literally,
So,
who you got?
yeah.
17.
Got the Packers.
Packers.
And this is all because, okay, I've done this ranking, like I said, before the quarterbacks are being traded or anything. But I also did it knowing that Aaron Rodgers is probably never going to play with the Packers again. So it's kind of the unknown. Like,
I wanted to rank them higher. I wanted to, but like we talked about a little earlier, what the hell have they done?
Yeah, and who is Jordan Love going to be? We barely seen him, right?
Exactly. So. Like he's an unknown. But I mean, and of course, no, they don't even have a ton of picks either. That's no, they have 10. They have 10. So they have a good amount of picks. But my friend joked, one of my things, I was my Packers fan was in there, and he joked, don't ever give the Packers a third round pick because every third round pick the past few years has been total bust for them, apparently. But like you said, they lost Lazard, or they're going to they haven't done anything. And when I previewed actually like as their GM, I predicted all these moves. And they lost Cobb, they lost Lazard, they lost Mercedes Lewis, they lost Tunyon, they lost Jerron Reed to y'all actually, and Adrian Amos is still on the market.
Yeah, they lost a bunch of players, but I think they're one of those teams that's getting younger, and like I said, it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me if they finished in the playoffs, and it wouldn't surprise me if they're picking the top 5 next year's draft.
I've got them actually on mine finishing last in the NFC North, which breaks my heart because also look at the free agents. They have not signed a single actual free agent ever re-signed. Their long sapper signed and then re-signed. They have made not a single free agent signing, lost some kind of key free agents. And of course, like we said, with the Aaron Rodgers thing is if Aaron Rodgers doesn't get moved, they are going to be in some problems. Like some serious problems. Yeah. And I have Chicago just barely finishing ahead of them, to be honest. I think that's going to be a kind of weak division this year. I think Minnesota is going to take a step back. Chicago is going to take a mild step up, but somehow still finish behind Minnesota. And I think Green Bay and Chicago are just going to be playing patty cake in the mud while the Lions take the division.
Yeah, we'll see. You might not like what I have to say, but I got the Vikings at 16.
Yep.
I just don't like there's another team. Lamar could end up in Minnesota, and you guys could end up with Kirk Cousins, and you guys would probably hate it. But it would just be for 1 year.
Yeah.
But
we talked about that a little bit, Minnesota and Tennessee chances.
The Vikings are just a team. It's like they finished with, I think they were like 12-4 last year or 12-5, something like that.
Yeah, they were, of course, on the huge win streak and then finally lost some games. But Justin Jefferson carried that team last year, though.
Well, that's what I was going to say. They have some young talent, but really it's about the NFL. It's about a complete team, right? It's not about one great wide receiver.
And, of course, I don't see Kirk Cousins getting any better. You know what I mean?
Unless it's at a 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern game. I mean, legitimately, he cannot play in prime time. I know it's crazy, but he just
they were another one I wanted to rank lower, and then again, I looked at their draft, or not their draft picks, but their free agent signings, and they made a couple good signings that again, I didn't see at first, but they signed again one of my favorite tight ends, Josh Oliver. Which Josh Oliver went off the market again quicker than most people thought, which is something I called.
You were telling me about that when it first happened.
Yeah. They signed a new center, Garrett Bradbury, to a 3-year deal. Okay, that's a good signing. They got Marcus Davenport from the Saints, but it's one of those ones. Marcus Davenport's been like an average player. He's kind of like was good, and I feel like he's just hanging on. So not a great signing. They got Dean Lowry. I think you know him, the defensive lineman. He's okay, but after that, like again, not anything great.
Where did Dean Lowry play before?
Let me double check here. Dean Lowry, Packers.
Oh, okay.
In my plan, I had the Packers keeping Dean Lowry. 7-year veteran, 6'6", 296.
Okay.
last year, not a lot of sacks, but looks like had a decent amount of tackles as a defensive lineman, 43 combined. So probably, I think he was a pretty good run stuffer.
Yeah.
I mean, like some decent signings, but nothing huge. And it's all if Kirk Cousins takes a step back, then none of it's for anything. Like,
yeah, exactly. He's just
just double cover Justin Jefferson all the time because Thielen's gone.
Yeah, Thielen's gone. I thought they have another younger wide receiver. I can't think of his name, but I think they got another guy. But 15, I got the Lions just right above the Vikings.
Mm-hmm.
And I got
sorry.
Oh no, I think it's another one like the Bears where everybody at least they did something during the season last year. Like they ended on a really hot streak, which is awesome. But it's another one of those teams like people said about the Seahawks, can Geno Smith do it again? Can Jared Goff do it again?
And that's my biggest question. And of course, a lot of people say they're sophomore slumps. So can all their rookies basically repeat? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that's another thing with the Seahawks. But another thing with the Lions is their secondary was horrible. I mean, their secondary was like worse than football.
But they did do a good job of that in the free agent market.
They did in the free agency, but I want to see them do that in the draft, if that makes sense.
Oh no, I totally feel you.
I think secondary especially is where you want to build in the draft because you need those guys young and quick.
Mm-hmm.
So, but they got Emmanuel Mosley, right? I believe.
Yeah, I've got it right up here.
And is it Chauncey Gardner-Johnson or did he go somewhere?
Yeah,
else?
so they got they got a lot I forgot about. They also got Cameron. So they got Cameron Sutton to start with.
Yeah, Cam Sutton.
Then they went and got Emmanuel Mosley. Then they got CJ Gardner-Johnson. CJ Moore as well. Which let me see. I know the name, but he was a Lion already. I'm sorry.
I like that. Emmanuel Mosley, if he can stay safe, if he can stay healthy, he was a pretty good defensive back with the 49ers.
And then they signed Graham Glasgow, the center offensive guard, basically as well, which I think he plays pretty decently, if I'm not mistaken. So a decent line. They got David Montgomery, the former Bears running back, very versatile kind of guy. I think he'll work good in that offense.
They did lose Jamal Williams, though. It was like their power guy, and he scored 17.
And a lot of people said that didn't make sense because Jamal, I think, signed for about the same amount of money. I think it's more of a system fit, and I think they're looking at someone in the draft. Yeah,
we'll see. But like I said, it's just so hard before the draft because you never know, right?
So. And there's gonna be so many more trades that happen.
Exactly. But yeah, 14. I don't remember who I had, so let's see. Well, the
Jets. Now, I'm guessing this is kind of not leaning towards Aaron Rodgers being a Jet. Or is this with?
Either this is like I said, Aaron Rodgers. It's like kind of 50-50. I'd probably, if Rodgers is on the team, maybe I'd have him somewhere around 10, 9. I don't see them like everybody else sees them, if that makes sense.
Yep.
The Jets are another team, like I said, like the Lions and like the Bears, where everybody's just, riding their dicks. And
I think we're going to see, with the Jets, Mark Sanchez, they're going to have 1 or 2 good years. And then the Jets are going to go back to being the Jets, in my opinion.
Yeah, we'll see. They have
this is going to be, I think, one of our biggest disagreements, I think, other than the Bears.
No, probably. I expected it. Where do you have them?
All right. I am predicting no matter what, Lamar, Aaron Rodgers, something. I still think Aaron Rodgers will happen.
Okay.
I've got the Jets on the AFC side 4th and surprising the entire NFL taking the AFC East this year, even beating Buffalo.
Yeah, wouldn't it be hilarious though if they
hot take.
No, it's not that crazy because they had a great defense, but
and with adding again, this is case in point, I'm envisioning Aaron Rodgers landing there.
Yeah. But Aaron wasn't very hot last year until the second half of the season. So We'll see what he's
Just
like.
again, like looking at the McCole Hardman, huge deep threat from KC. Alan Lazard, who's someone, of course, he probably did like in Green Bay. Was it Garrett Wilson? Is a stud. Now we'll have to see if he has a sophomore slump. They re-signed Quincy Williams, who is a great linebacker. Solomon Thomas re-signed, great run stuffing guy. I think he used to came from Washington, if I'm not mistaken. And of course, they went and got my guy Chuck Clark, who helped run the Baltimore defense for years.
Yeah, no, it's just one of those things where it's like I got to see him do it.
I agree, though. We could see a Russell Wilson situation happen basically here with Aaron Rodgers coming over and
I mean, look at the Broncos last year. They go hit their quarterback away, but sometimes it's not that simple. Sometimes your quarterback sucks. But let's go to 13. I think I got the Giants.
The Giants was a hard one for me. It really was. Like
I don't know if you noticed this. I really hate East Coasters. Not like East Coasters.
I feel it though. I feel it.
The East Coast media where I tell the 49ers fan this. I think either Kyle Shanahan or Pete Carroll should have won Coach of the Year. And instead this guy wins it, Dayball. Because
that was garbage. I agree with you. That was total garbage.
I mean, they were predicted to win 9 games like they did, 10 games like they did. But because they're in New York, same thing with the Jets, rookies of the year, Sauce and Garrett Wilson. I don't think so, dude.
I kind of get that though. Like, I want to hold on. I actually have the Giants finishing second in the division. I actually have them just like the Jets. The two New York teams are my fourth in both the NFC and the AFC. I think the Giants and the Jets are going to surprise some people. Now, I want to talk about the Jets again really quick, though. Yeah, so, of course, again, if Aaron Rodgers lands there, the running back, Breece Hall and Michael Carter, Ty Johnson. Okay, great. Your wide receivers, McCall Hardman, Garrett Wilson, Corey Davis, which Corey Davis has never lived up to his potential, but he's one of those guys that kind of like Alan Lazard can go deep and big guy. And I think Rodgers is liking these bigger guys. And then, their offensive line, Becky, they had some injuries this year. Elijah Vera Tucker, Becton, and Max Mitchell, all good players, but had injuries. All of those guys coming back also with 2 free agent signings. I don't know, man. Carl Lawson, Quinnen Williams also taking another step. They also had Jermaine Johnson, their other first-round pick from last year from Florida State.
Yeah.
I think they're going to surprise people. Same thing kind of here with the. Oh, by the way, I kept saying Paris Campbell was a free agent. He signed with the Giants.
Oh, he did.
Yep. By the way, I just saw that.
But yeah, it's just I wouldn't be surprised if they finished second in the AFC East. And sneak into the playoffs. I just don't think they're as dominant as the.
I think they're going to overtake Dallas. I think they are.
Oh, you're talking about the Giants.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I moved back to the Giants. I'm so sorry.
Sorry, no, I was talking about the Jets. I don't think they're as dominant as everybody's crowning the Jets already, and I don't like that. It's like when everybody was calling the Bills Super Bowl favorites in the preseason last year when they didn't even make it to the Super Bowl.
I just think, like I said, I don't know if Buffalo is going to be the same Buffalo this year. New England, I'm unsure on because quarterback. I think Miami's one injury away from having to rely on Mike White. So that's why I really have this feeling New York Jets are going to pull an upset and take the AFC East this year. If everything goes well and Aaron Rodgers does land there. I think they're going to have an explosive offense potentially.
I think it would be super funny though if the Rodgers deal falls through. Say he goes to Indianapolis.
Oh, I know, right? And the Jim Irsay thing. I think Jim Irsay would want Aaron Rodgers over Lamar.
Yeah, me too. And then, but say Lamar goes to Atlanta or one of those teams, and then the Jets are going, "Oh my God, we blew it. We blew it. We didn't go after Carr. Nobody."
I wonder if the Giants could pull off a trade for DeAndre
Hopkins.
Yeah, I'm looking at their cap. I'm looking at their roster. So looking at because again, I'm looking at the wide receiver signings and their depth chart, right?
Mm-hmm.
So of course, Dan Jones. We know what Dan Jones gives us. They tagged Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley's a beast, and they also brought back Mac Breida, who played pretty well behind him.
Mhm.
So then, like, looking at their wide receiver signings, okay, they made 4 freaking signings for Dan Jones. Paris Campbell, who's an actual has huge potential to be like number 2 wide receiver, really good speed threat.
Yeah.
Then they brought in Jamison Crowder, which I think is another former Washington guy, kind of used to be a speed guy.
Mhm.
Sterling Shepard, who's a slot guy. Darius Slayton, another slot guy. And like those 4 guys all have serious speed, like serious speed. Then they trade for Darren Waller at tight end. But looking at those guys, there's still no number 1 wide receiver. You add DeAndre to those wide receivers, I'm scared.
I think with a solid core of receivers, it's almost more scary than just having one solid number 1, if that makes sense.
And that's the thing. If it's a system, which I really think Dan Jones, again, succeeds better in that system, dude, that's a lot of speed. And they might, I'm telling you, if I was the Giants offense coordinator, I'm running constant crossing routes with all those fast guys. Like
as long as you can hold up your blocks, right?
Exactly. And Dan Jones actually, dude, he had some good scrambling stats last
year.
year.
He can move.
Hey, I think we got someone new, John LaJoy.
Let's see.
In the chat.
John LaJoy, what's up?
But yeah, I've got the Giants finishing 4th, and actually they're going to finish 2nd. I think Philly still takes the division, but look out.
Oh, you have them 4th overall in the NFC.
Yeah, 4th overall in the NFC. I think the Giants are going to take a huge step this year, and I think they're going to upset Dallas. Dallas is going to be super salty this year.
I hope so. I really hope so. Let's go 12. I think I got the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're one of those teams that's they're always kind of in it, right? That's why you kind of got to put them right in the middle of everything. Kenny Pickett is he their guy? We'll see.
The Steelers were one of the hardest ones for me. Like we talked about, like these mid-round ones here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna upset some people. I have the Steelers finishing last in the division, like
really?
Even behind the Browns. Like they made a really good offensive guard signing, but the Bengals are taking the division, in my opinion. My Ravens, dude, even when we had Tyler Huntley, we almost beat the Bengals, even though they were playing vanilla offense. But the defense holds up, and the defense is only going to get better this year. So, I don't think the Browns are going to beat us. So then that leaves me with Pittsburgh. And I'm like, I don't have a lot of faith in Pickett, honestly, to develop.
You don't?
I don't.
I'm still waiting for Najee to kind of break out and be like Derrick Henry, but
no, I'm telling you, they're off that offensive guard. I think he was the Eagles' offensive guard. He was one of the highest offensive guards, I think, in free agency. Signed with the Steelers. That's going to be huge.
What's his name?
Here, let me.
Is it Lane Johnson?
No, it wasn't Johnson. AFC.
Sorry.
Isaac Samalo.
Oh, okay.
Sumalo. Yeah,
I don't know much about him, to be honest.
They signed him and a guard called Nate Herbig. They kind of redid the offensive line a little bit, so they're going to be trying to run the ball, but letting Sutton go while signing Patrick Peterson. Patrick Peterson on stats doesn't make sense for their how they run their style of defense.
Well, and just his age, right?
Yep. I see the Steelers defense taking a step back this year, and the offense not really taking a step forward. With the trading of Claypool, Pickens is Claypool's replacement, but I guess it depends if Deontay Johnson can get the ball. If they can design an offense to get him the ball.
And they got Freiermuth, right? So I don't know.
They got some decent tools, but
with their head coach, I always see him just kind of in the hunt, for a while.
And I feel that it's the AFC North's a hard one to grade for me, other than the Bengals. I think the Bengals, especially with the Orlando Brown signing, are the clear favorites in the AFC North.
Yeah, no, I think so too. I mean, even before that.
Who you got at 11?
I got your Seattle Seahawks at 11. Okay. I think we'll finish. I think it'll be tighter this year for the NFC West. We're not finishing first in the division this year. I think that'll be a 2024 goal mainly, but I think we're going to sneak into the playoffs and do some more damage than we did this year instead of just getting embarrassed. I really think, if Geno can play at the same rate that he played last year, obviously our run defense, we're completely overhauling the defensive line and the linebackers. So and our secondary is killer. We got 4 safeties right now, which I think is insane. 4 starting caliber safeties, and 3 starting caliber cornerbacks. We got Bobby Wagner back.
10 picks in this draft as well, including 2 first rounders, right?
Yeah, 2 first rounders, 2 second rounders. So it's not like they're way back in the 7th round or anything.
You're gonna like my power rankings. I have your Seattle Seahawks only behind the 49ers in the NFC. I got you number 2 in the NFC. I think the combination of Geno playing decently, I think you're going to find a young quarterback in this draft to pair behind Geno just in case Geno doesn't work out. But I think your case in point, DK was hurt a lot last year, was he not?
No, not really.
Or what, beginning of the year? I'm telling you, I think your team's going to take a step forward.
Oh,
and then
I know.
with 10 draft picks coming in, and again, showing a good history of developing your draft picks, I think y'all are going to, I think y'all are going to get slept on a little.
We'll see. They always do. I think, I don't know. It's tough when you're in that division with the 49ers, and who knows what the Rams are going to be. I don't think they're going to be very good. I don't think the Cardinals
I don't, like we said, I have the Rams pretty low too. I think, of course, the 49ers are going to be so hard to deal with. But I think you're going to put out a crazy team.
I was talking to Ryan at No Border Sports, and I think the Seahawks are probably a good 10-11 win team, and I think the Rams are a 12-13 win team.
Yeah, so and you're kind of done in free agency, like looking at your cap situation.
Yeah, exactly. And I think we did what we need to do in free agency. I mean, we addressed our needs.
Absolutely agreed. And again, like you said, Pete Carroll knows he's coming into this draft as, again, like I only did teams with 12, 11, and 10. You got there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 other teams with 10 draft picks. But of course, your draft capital having 2 first, 2 second is one of the highest draft capitals in the entire NFL right now.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
You're definitely going to I could definitely see y'all trading one of those first round picks potentially, like trading back, I should say, and getting even more picks.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Your cap situation, like Bobby Wagner is going to fall off next year. There's $7 million off the books. Like next year, you're not going to be in a bad cap situation. And I really have a belief you're not going to take a first round quarterback, but I definitely think second or third round, I think you're going to see a guy. And if you don't, we talked about a little bit when we talked draft a little bit. There's going to be some guys that I think have like Brock Purdy potential.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I just think, it's we are going to take a step forward. Obviously, I follow this team closer than every team.
Yeah.
I got to kind of be unbiased with my rankings. I got to be truly unbiased with all my rankings and stuff. But yeah, no, I believe we're.
And you said too, you weren't really looking at the draft as much with this.
No, not really. I'm kind of looking at our capital. I mean, the Seahawks is hard not to look at the draft, right? Because that's my team. That's who I.
And like we talked about, teams, almost all the teams that had got the top 5 draft grades were basically all playoff teams.
Yeah, exactly. So,
and
yeah, no, anyways. Yeah, so I'm thinking second NFC West. I think we'll probably win a playoff game this year. Maybe surprise and make a deep playoff run.
Honestly, depending on how the quarterback situation goes for the 49ers, I'm telling you, I have you fighting the Niners for that division. I don't think it's going to be a cakewalk.
I don't think it's going to be like last year either. I really don't. And, I was talking to them and they go, oh, well, we're not really afraid of Geno Smith. Well, I totally understand that because Geno Smith played his worst games against the 49ers last year. But if you watch all the other games, I mean, he was solid. There was no drop off from Russell Wilson to Geno Smith, at least last season compared to the last 2 seasons.
My thing is this: both teams are going to make the playoffs. And then, so my question is, who do I think has higher potential for like big game breaking plays in the playoffs that would make the difference? And I see the Seattle Seahawks being that team. And that's why I'm like, I don't know, man. I think you might go to the Super Bowl this year, legitimately. Fingers crossed.
I don't. I see that as more of a 2024 deal.
I mean, and especially I have you number 2 on the NFC side. So with that being said, you're one of my Super Bowl favorites on the NFC. I think you take the Eagles this year. I don't think the Eagles, with how much they've lost.
Yeah, exactly. I still got them up at the top of the NFC just because I got to see somebody knock them
Yeah.
off.
And I'll
Right.
admit the Rams are going to be a wild card with 11 picks and just Sean McVay being Sean McVay. Like,
Like no, like you were saying in the playoffs, the Niners still have more threats than us. The Niners still have a better
no, man, I'm
defense than us.
telling you.
But when there's a divisional game on the line, it's us versus the Cardinals. We obviously play them harder. We know them
So,
better.
case in point, here's my first thing. What if Jalen Carter falls to you? Because he's case in point, you have that pick. You're getting Will Anderson, Jalen Carter, Tyree Wilson, or one of these elite Joey Bosa difference changer first season pass rushers. You are guaranteed that guy. And I think
I'm
that's gonna make
changing.
the most.
I changed my opinion on Jalen Carter from a week ago. Once he showed up to the pro day like that, I was done. I was like, oh, I hope not. You know,
I mean,
think,
but Orlando Brown had bad combine, bad pro day, like even worse pro day. Like,
no, this guy couldn't make it through his
tape
drill.
speaks. Tape speaks.
Yeah, but this guy he couldn't make it through his drills, dude.
But case in point, I mean, I still think you might get Will Anderson or Tyree Wilson might not be a bad pick. I don't think. I think he couldn't do his pro day, but he's got a separate private workout scheduled. It might have happened, but
if Anderson's not there, I like Tyree Wilson. Yeah, but anyways, let's go to 10.
yeah,
I have the Baltimore Ravens. If Lamar stays,
okay.
I have them finishing, I think, second in the AFC North, and that's if Lamar stays, right?
If Lamar stays, I think we compete for number one. But of course, I have us finishing second no matter what because of our defense. But
yeah, look at Huntley. He filled in 2 years ago and looked good. This year, not so much, but
yeah, and like I've kind of hinted, I think no matter what, Stetson Bennett is coming. I predicted even if Lamar stayed, Stetson Bennett would make a absolute like smart decision. If he fell later in the draft, like 4th to 5th, an absolute because again, like I was even telling my girlfriend, no quarterback right now makes more sense to not only learn but also teach other guys because it's going to be the system that he just ran for 2 years at the University of Georgia.
yeah, exactly.
And Stetson Bennett's got a pretty good deep ball and is decently mobile. So I think even if worst case, he leaves, Baltimore takes Bennett with Bateman, Aguilar, and Duvernay, plus another wide receiver, probably high in the draft, potentially first round guy. With that defense and Mark Andrews, oh yeah, and our offensive line is solid. We have no problems. Even though Ben Powers left, we already had someone on the roster to replace him. So,
and the AFC is a lot tougher than the NFC right now.
It is.
I don't know if you noticed, like half the team, obviously.
In case I'm playing, if Aaron Rodgers leaves the NFC, another one coming. Like,
and Lamar stays in the AFC.
That's what everyone said this past year. The NFC was kind of a joke past like the Niners, Seahawks, and Vikings.
Not even the Seahawks, but nobody's putting respect on the Seahawks, and nobody's really putting respect on the Vikings right now. They're all putting it on the
Baltimore is going to be an interesting one. I'm just excited to see what happens. I hate to say this. I've supported Lamar, but I'm ready to move on from Lamar. Like,
and that's how it was last year with Russell. Obviously, it was a much longer relationship, but when the time to move on, you guys always know.
And yours was not as dramatic as what's going on right now.
Oh, it was. It was. You should have. It was. It was.
I guess it kind of was, but yeah.
The thing with Seattle is we're not in the national news all the time, unless Richard Sherman yells at a reporter, or
before Lamar, Baltimore was never in the news, unless Ray Lewis was talked about.
Yeah, or we're playing in the Super Bowl. That's the only reason we're in the news. So it's like, these guys that got no reason to talk about us, which I actually kind of like because it puts us kind of under the radar to everybody. So
yep, agreed. Who you got at number 9?
9, I got the Dolphins, and that's just if Tua stays healthy. If Tua's not healthy, I could see him going all the way back to maybe 20.
I just can't see Tua staying healthy for a full season. And it's not just on Tua. I think a lot of players kind of do play dirty sometimes and go after Tua a little harder. But it's now don't be wrong, Miami with Mike White might be deadly. That really might be deadly.
And Jalen Waddle, yeah, because he can throw. But then again,
Of course, you got Jalen Ramsey with the trade. That defense is going to be hard.
But then again, I saw the Dolphins. I saw Mike White live last year with the Jets, and he just didn't do anything against us, and we didn't have any sort of. Well, I guess
some games he looked great, and then other games he looked so subpar. Like,
yeah, and that was one of them where I think we held him to 6 points that game.
And I think, like I said, that's going to be, I think, the hardest division in football by far this year.
Yeah, the Dolphins are one of those. I could see him maybe being first. I could maybe see him being fourth.
Exactly, dude. When I did my power rankings, like I said, I was doing it by division, and I wrote AFC first on my paper, and I was like, all right. Looked at it, I said, no, I have to save that for the last of the AFC because, like, going down, I was like, every one of those teams could finish first.
Yeah, exactly. But let's go to 8. I have the Chargers. I don't, especially after they just collapsed during that playoff game. I don't really trust them, but just the talent's there. It's just, can they actually hold it together?
I've got the Chargers finishing last in the West. I don't have any faith. When you looked at power rankings online, their best thing said they retained like a coach. Like, I'm like, I don't have faith in them. They didn't make a lot of moves. Their offense is aging every day. Like,
yeah, they do have a young quarterback though, and he's decent.
I originally had Denver actually finishing last in the West, but I changed it to the Chargers because I have to give Sean Payton a little bit of credit.
I can't. The only Super Bowl he won, they were paying players for cheap shots. So.
And we talked about they might have been wiretapping.
Yeah, sure. I didn't even know that, but sure. Yeah, anything to hate on the Broncos, I don't care. And I didn't like Sean Payton to begin with.
It was one of those ones too. Like after Katrina, everyone like the city needed it. It was one of those ones. Just I hate to even say it, like when Ray Lewis was retiring, the NFL like seemed like a story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
who you got number 7?
By the
way, I have Chargers number 13, so that's another one I think we're kind of like a little further on.
Yeah, way off. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me because they start off.
We even have your Seahawks way off from where I rank you.
Yeah, I know. I like to
but
be
that humble. I like that you're humble with that.
Yeah, you gotta be. Or else you're just gonna look like a jackass homer, right? I could put the Seahawks at number 1 right now and make a bunch of arguments why, but they wouldn't make sense to anybody.
Dallas coming in number 7.
Yeah, Dallas coming in at 7. I mean, it's just a team. I think they're just a team that sticks around, and I hate them. I hate them so much, but they seem to always be there.
Their fan base are the most cocky, ego-driven. Like they every time we're number 1 on the power rankings. Sure you are, buddy. Do you write?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, knock on wood, they're not gonna do anything next year, but that's just talent-wise. I got them at 7. Where you got them?
I've got Dallas. Even though, again, I don't have a lot of faith in them. It's like they didn't lose a lot. Other than the recent reports, Ezekiel Elliott might be open to coming back.
Oh yeah, he didn't want his last play being blown up playing center.
So it's not like it's over for him. I've got Dallas ranked number 5 in my power rankings on the NFC side, but I've got the AFC East and the NFC East are like crushing in my power rankings.
So the real question is Ezekiel Elliott testing free agency as a halfback or as a center? That was
you know what? I thought he was going as a cheerleader with those belly shirts, but you know.
Yeah, exactly. 6, I got the Jags, and I hate putting them there. I don't like the Jaguars.
Same.
I just, there's something about, none of their fans show up to the games. I just don't like it. Like,
I've got them, of course, taking the division, sadly. Like, it's a weak division.
Yeah, but then again, it's one of those things where it's so early. It wouldn't surprise me if the Titans won the division.
Yeah. But like I said, I've got a lot of faith in all the Texans moves. Like, I think they made some serious moves down there. But like the Jacksonville Jaguars, they tagged Ingram, cool, made some defensive signings, but other than that, they didn't touch the offense. They didn't touch the defense. Like really.
Yeah,
Like,
and they're another one of those teams that they ended hot like the Lions, and that's really
mhm.
good for,
And
it's
the only
not
reason I rate them higher, they've got a really easy schedule next year. Like,
oh, okay,
pretty easy. It's 23rd on the list, so pretty easy. Like,
okay.
because
Yeah, I
again,
don't
their division sucks.
know. Yeah.
The Colts, even if they get a quarterback, they're going to be garbage. Tennessee, I see taking a step back. The Texans are going to be good, but it's how far a rookie quarterback takes them. So,
Yeah. No, I got the Bills at 5.
okay. I've got Bills on the AFC side, number 5. I guess I kind of think they're going to take a slight step back.
Yeah, I mean they lost their middle linebacker.
And just
And,
they haven't been able to do a whole lot. Like,
well, that's a story about Buffalo, right? They always get close.
yeah.
So,
Mind you, also the Jacksonville Jaguars lost their starting left tackle, which is going to be big for them. And they lost Arden Key, one of their uprising pass rushers. So they lost some kind of key pieces there in Jacksonville.
okay. Yeah, I knew about Jawan Taylor.
Yeah.
Obviously, he went with the Chiefs, right?
Yes, yeah. He replaced Orlando Brown, and then Arden Key ended up going to the Titans. That was like their only like real move, honestly.
Oh no, the Titans, they got this guy. You probably never heard of him, right? His name's Aziz Al-Shair. He played with the Niners last
Linebacker,
year.
right?
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Dude, when we played those Niners, I freaking hated that guy. He was all over the ball, but I was like, when I saw that he was going to be a free agent, I was like, I really wouldn't mind having him. But yeah, they got that guy Aziz Al-Shair, the Titans did, and I think
The biggest story for the Bills is they figured out when I talked to my Bills fan, he said he didn't think they needed it. I said they needed a center and a guard. They got Connor McGovern, which is actually a pretty good guard. So but other than that, not really a whole lot. Like,
and Allen's so big, so you never know. But how long can he stay healthy running like he does, right? So,
and of course he's had a UCL injury, so of course he's on a better timeline than Purdy is, but he kept trying to throw. So I don't know. I'm a little unsure on that. I hope he can stay healthy, but I just think Buffalo didn't do enough to really push it, and then they lost a safety and a linebacker.
yeah, but they're a great team. So
Exactly. Like I said, I've got them 5th, but I think Miami is. Actually, I just realized my things are messed up there.
You think who did you have winning that division? Oh, the Jets, you said.
Yeah, I've got the Jets actually winning the division, being a surprise with Aaron Rodgers. So actually, I have to like change mine a little bit here.
I got the Bengals at number 4.
Yeah, the Bengals. I've got second in the AFC. It's like we talked about. They've got so many weapons. They brought in Orlando Brown. They basically kept the team kind of together. I do admit though they wanted to keep Von Bell, the safety that ended up. Where did we say he ended up? Carolina, I think.
Yeah, they lost Bates and Bell, right?
Yeah, which of course they knew they were going to lose Bates, and they had Daxton Hill last year waiting.
I was going to say I think they had a guy they drafted basically to replace.
From what I understand, Bengal fans were mad. They basically did not utilize Daxton Hill, the safety they took in the first round from Michigan, until like later in the year. And then when they finally started playing him more, he actually played really well. So it like relieved fans' minds that Bates was going to leave, but they wanted to keep Bell. And Bell left too. So now they have to fill another safety hole again.
Yeah.
Which they signed Nick Scott to a 3-year contract. I'm looking at now, actually. Looks like played for the Rams, actually. Yeah, played for the Rams last year. 5 pass deflections, 2 interceptions. So doesn't seem bad, but probably not the best.
They're one of those teams. I think they're going to be in it for the next few years, right? Along with the Bills.
Yeah, so, I agree on that.
But let's go to 3. I got the Niners at 3. I think they're really a powerhouse.
Yeah, they're number 1 on the NFC side for me. The Niners, I think it with Trey Lance and Purdy sitting in the wing, and like I said, I originally was going to rank them lower, And then I saw those 11 draft picks, and I was like, oh, they're going to
Dude,
add a
I don't
lot
even
of
think
depth to that team. Like,
I don't even think they need him. I mean, I know
that's what
you
I'm
did.
saying. It's all going to be depth picks, and that's what makes them the scariest team in the NFC. Like,
Yeah, I think I I don't know a lot. Yeah, they're going to be a tough team to beat. They really are, especially if they can
they'd have
stay
been the Super
healthy.
Bowl if they didn't have the injury problem. Like to the
Yeah, and
49ers.
that's what I tell them. I go, and this is for me rooting against them. I still think that they would have won the Super Bowl. And here's the thing with the 49ers, right? If say Lance sucks, Purdy doesn't.
Exactly. You have Purdy as the backup no matter. And like, let's say Lance sucks at the beginning. You turn to Purdy. Purdy's playing great. Lance is now a trade option before the deadline.
Or vice versa.
Exactly.
Vice versa. Say they play the
Lance
whole
is
season
balling, bro.
And Lance is just awesome, right? Lance is awesome. Purdy doesn't have to come in. I mean, what can they get for Purdy? I bet they can get a first round pick for Purdy.
They would never do it though, because they'd be so terrified. God forbid it happens again. But like looking at their losses in free agency, of course, the biggest loss, Mike McGlinchey to the Broncos, the tackle.
And
But
I guess I've talked.
Yeah,
like I said, I've talked to more of their fans than anything.
I've heard mixed reviews on him,
and they didn't like him. They said him just pass blocking was absolutely terrible.
And that's what I heard, like, as well.
Yeah, and they said the way that Ryan described it to me, he's a huge 49ers fan. He said it was like playing Madden and then his controller would just stop working.
That's a good way to put it, actually.
Yeah, so he said it was just like he just stopped. Oh, nice, John. You're from Washington?
Nice.
East or West?
On that, like after that, most of the losses are on the defensive side. They lost some edge defensive linemen, and then of course Emmanuel Mosley, was kind of a big loss. Jimmy Ward, he was like an average stage, like Chuck Clark, in my opinion.
Well, I guess they wanted him to play nickel, and he's like, no, I play safety. And it's like, that's not a guy you want on your team.
And of course, the guy you mentioned, Aziz, was on there. Hassan Ridgway, Maurice Hurst, 2 defensive linemen.
But they got Javon Hargrave.
Exactly, and that negates the defense. And I had almost forgotten about that. And then when I looked at their signings, I was like, "Oh yeah, holy crap!"
Yeah, the third, when
Tashad Gibson, the safety, basically replaces Jimmy Ward, in my opinion, 100%. And then after that, every other signing, basically, Clelin Ferrell replaces one of their easier.
Yeah, Cleveland Farrell. That all the 49ers fans, they still can't even say his name right. I just know it because of Hard Knocks.
But it's just one of those ones. A lot of their signings were really good, like replacing depth signings. So if you're the 49ers going into this draft, you're looking maybe for like a right tackle and a corner. And then after that, just depth at edge rushing, probably. Like it's just everything after that is edge. You need 2 positions maybe on your entire team, and after that, everything is depth. Like you couldn't ask for a better situation.
Well, and I don't know if you mentioned those defensive backs they signed. I was spacing out for a second, but Isaiah Oliver from the Falcons.
Oh yeah, I did miss Isaiah Oliver actually. Yep.
Yeah, that's going to be a big one. I just think, at least next year they're going to be the scariest team in the NFC, and I'm hoping we can catch up with them by 2024.
Agreed.
As a Seahawks fan.
And they've still got cap space to work, so they not a lot, but they could still make a few more like later free agent signings.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how this works, but like somehow y'all have okay, never mind. What it is because y'all have 2 first round, 2 second round picks. Over the cap is allocating for the draft class, having that to sign too, which would take a lot of money. So like case in point, y'all have, it says you have almost $9 million in cap space, but it says your effective cap is technically like negative 700,000.
And they'll figure it out.
Exactly. Like I said, you're going to trade down, trade back. Like that's all going to change all that. Like
those GMs are so smart.
Who you got number 2?
I just have the Super Bowl 1 and 2.
I really think, though, I don't see the Eagles taking that step forward again. Like, I really think the Niners are going to overcome them.
And I think, I really do too. But the reason the only reason I do it like that is until the NFL season probably actually starts.
It makes sense. Like
I'll have them at 1 and 2 probably until the NFC or until the NFL season starts, just because of the fact that traditionally that's the way I like to do it. Like last year, I hated, right after the Super Bowl, they did NFL power rankings, and everybody had the Bills as number one. And it's like, dude, what are you talking about?
Yeah,
they
like
didn't,
no,
they didn't
I'm
even make it
sorry.
to the NFC Championship
And they
game.
didn't make any moves. Like really, like
No, and they were a great team. I mean, they really are. But I don't like crowning people when they haven't done it yet.
exactly.
Or when they haven't.
My issue with the Eagles is like again when I'm like looking, okay, they kept the secondary. Of course, they lost a few, but like Johnson was who signed with the Lions was always an extra piece that they traded from the Saints to make a Super Bowl run. They kept Bradbury. They kept Slay, who's their slot guy. They brought back Fletcher Cox, brought back Brandon Graham. Jason Kelsey said he was going to come back, and then they got some decent safeties in Greedy Williams. So they got some Greedy Williams, I think was a former first round corner for the Saints way back in the day. They got, they kept some decent depth, but then when you keep looking, I think the biggest, like the absolute biggest hole, and it's going to hugely change that team. They lost their starting right tackle and their starting guard, Isaac Samalo and Andre Dillard. That's huge. And then Javon Hargrave, Linval Joseph. They lost Hargrave. Linval Joseph, which I know that name, and Ndamukong Suh, both still free agents because I probably don't have the money to sign them. Well, that's literally 3 defensive tackles right there.
Who knows if Sue will ever be on a team again.
I mean, then they also lost TJ Edwards, probably the second best linebacker in this free agency, to the Bears. Kazir White lost him to the Cardinals, and then lost one of the other safeties, Marcus Epps, to the Raiders.
But they're one of those teams. They got 2 first-round draft picks this year because they got number 10, I think it is, from the Saints.
They do, yeah.
And then they have number 30 because they lost the Super Bowl.
I think those 2 offensive linemen are going to be really hard to replace. I think it's just going to be too fucking hard for them. Like I said, I still have them 3rd overall in the NFC, but I really think your Seattle Seahawks are going to be the 2nd best team in the NFC this year.
I really hope so. I just,
Kansas City, of course, on the AFC side. Yeah.
Not much to talk about.
I mean, dude, my God. Of course, Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes. But again, it's like when you look at, and of course, they're on the list of teams with most picks. They have 10 picks this draft. Yeah. So they've got a lot of ammo to build up. So, what did they lose? They lost Orlando Brown, but they signed Jawan Taylor.
Frank Clark. They let go of Frank Clark.
Yeah. So, of course, they let go of Frank Clark, who, Frank Clark, though, I don't think signed anywhere yet.
No, he hasn't. He might sign back with Seattle.
And there's a chance for that. They got rid of Juju. Great. But and they lost McCole Hardman. He was already kind of like a situational piece. The only 2-step back right now, in my opinion, looking at their losses, is of course Andre Wiley, their right tackle, which they lost to the Commanders. That's going to be a little rough because you really got to have an offensive tackle. And then Frank Clark, which it's not closed that Frank Clark's done yet. Frank Clark's kind of ended his career.
And he was kind of a playoff guy. Too. He always stepped up during the playoffs.
So they didn't lose a lot, No. And then
the Chiefs are one of those teams. It's like Peyton Manning, right? He's going to be on the top of everybody's list for the next 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, and we talked about it. Teams that draft well were in the playoffs. You and the Seahawks were basically were 2 of the top teams drafting, basically, and the Eagles.
Gunny's got to get out of here. So
later, Gunny, man. Thanks for dropping in, man. I appreciate it.
I like Gunny. Gunny's a good.
Gunny dude is so solid. I love Gunny, honestly.
It was hard for me when I was doing the power rankings because I couldn't see the chat at all. So I was trying to catch up a little bit.
Oh yeah, that is rough.
But that's cool, John. You're right about me. I'm from the mean streets of Maple Valley, Washington.
Okay.
He'll get it. It is a very suburb area. It's not mean at all.
Yeah, actually, I wanted to see if you wanted to talk about too. There's an NFL article talking about basically all the wide receiver trades that have happened, and do you think they're going to do better?
What do you
than their
mean?
pre. So like better or worse, like DJ Moore in Carolina versus DJ Moore in Chicago.
Hmm. Yeah,
Over under DJ Moore on 1,000 yards. Let's say
over,
that.
but he's been over every year.
Yeah, he's recording like 1,100 yard seasons with nobody in Chicago. And
Who else has been traded though?
Brandon Cooks to Dallas Cowboys.
See, that guy, he is always just putting up numbers. He's been consistent.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't. It seems like he's been on 10 different teams. I think it's only 4 now, but it seems like he's been on 10 different teams.
And so that's the thing is supposedly CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup, and then Brandon Cooks is supposed to be the top 3 over there now.
Yeah, and I don't see Cooks is criminally underrated.
He really is. He's still under 30. He's only 29.
Well, they treat him like a guy that's from, Seattle, Washington.
I've always wondered why he got traded so much.
I don't know, and nobody has anything bad to say about him either. It's not like
exactly.
It's not like he's a cancer to the locker room. He's like one of these guys.
One of the under radar guys, Elijah Moore, traded from the Jets to the Browns.
Oh yeah, I saw that, but he requested a trade last year, I think.
Yeah, he's only in his 3rd year, only 23 years old. Supposedly a really good route runner. He was one of those ones when the Jets drafted him. I was like, why? Bad pick. 16 games last year, only 446 yards.
Yeah, and they had Garrett Wilson, so they're feeding him the ball up, but they're going to have more weapons this year. So,
of course, not a trade, but a new wide receiver, Allen Lazard with the Jets.
Yeah, there's been a lot of movement.
Yeah, of course, Jacoby Myers, Juju Smith, Adam Thielen, Robert Woods, McCole Hardman.
How funny would it be, though, if, like I said, say the Jets deal falls through with Rodgers, say he goes to, Tennessee or Indianapolis, right? And say, who else? Lamar goes to, either Tennessee or Atlanta or a team like that, and then the Jets are just screwed and they're stuck with Zach Wilson again.
Literally.
It would be so hilarious. I would love it. Just because
sorry.
I just don't like the New York bias that goes on all the time. So
it's because it's the big market. They got all the cameras and lights. And I feel you though. They get a little. I'm trying to figure out if there's any good buys left in this free agent market. I'm looking over these top 100 free agents and trying to see is there really anyone that's case in point. We don't like Odell Beckham. How do you feel about Odell? He's the last. He's number 9 on the list. He's last one that's on the top still.
No, I don't like him.
Yannick
Ngakoue. He's my guy.
Really?
Came from Jacksonville. Yeah, I want him, dude. Yeah, and I think that's a guy that all the 49ers guys are trying to go for just to add to that defensive line. I think
I can see that. I can see him going to the 49ers. I feel
he's a piece. He's a piece that you need if you already have a good pass rush.
He cannot stop a runner to save his life. He cannot. He played for the Ravens for a little. We traded a 3rd round pick to Minnesota to take him from Minnesota for a while. He cannot run stuff to save his life.
And that's how Frank Clark was with us. Who else is on that list? You got Yannick Ngakoue.
Poona Ford, one of your guys. 27-year-old defensive lineman.
Well, Puna's a 4-3 defensive tackle, and we run that bare front a lot lately, and he was just so quiet last year. We run the nickel, right? Basically a 4-3 nickel, but when it's running downs, we'll do a bare front, so a 3-4. But even in the 4-3, he just still wasn't the same guy.
That's what they're saying that right there. Basically, the problem was in Seattle, he wasn't really a fit. And he's not fitting that new scheme. So it's one of the ones I'm trying to look at cap space too. Who's can really still make some moves? The Panthers still got a lot of money to make moves. So did the Lions.
Mm-hmm.
Who else we got? Shaquille Griffin, the cornerback from Jacksonville.
From Seattle first, yeah.
Yeah, Seattle. I'm kind of surprised he's still on the market.
Well, they overpaid him. Jacksonville did to begin with. And that's kind of the problem, right? Is they overpaid him, and then
now he won't sign for anything less.
And then, yeah, when players get overpaid, underperform, they expect to get overpaid again, but they're not. He'll probably get, I'm guessing about what I think he's worth. I think he's worth about $5 million a year.
I could see that. I really could. I feel like he will sign for probably about that. What kills me is not like talking about taking too much money. I think it was who was it? Richard Sherman. Did you see what he said about the Lamar and Joe and Mahomes situation?
Mm-mm.
I'm pretty sure it was Richard Sherman, but I could be wrong. But Richard Sherman's very vocal for the players, of course. I love Richard Sherman. He said the whole Lamar situation is like Mahomes and Allen's fault. Basically saying that Mahomes and Allen should have been asking for way more money and absolute guaranteed deals. And because they didn't, that's the problem, like with everything. And because how can you honestly say you deserve more money than Patrick Mahomes, who just won the Super Bowl? With what wide receivers?
Yeah, and I think Deshaun Watson was a guy who ruined. Not Deshaun Watson himself. I'd taken the money too. I think it was.
I'm gonna take that money if it's.
It was the Browns. It was the Browns. It screwed everybody.
Was.
Not only they gave up 3 first-round picks and guaranteed. Yeah, it was just
so much, absolutely ridiculous. Jadeveon Clowney's next up on that list. I hate the man. He's such a wishy-washy player. Well, the next one I'm not sold on either, but I've seen a lot of people like him. Rock Ya-Sin, the former Raiders corner.
I don't know. Going back to Shaq Griffin real quick.
Yeah.
I think we would have taken him last offseason, but the problem is, say he was available last offseason, he'd have been a great fit for us, but the problem is we're so young at defensive back. I don't think he can come back. He plays outside corner. He doesn't play the slot. So.
That's what I remember about him. Like it says, he plays pretty good. Not bad. He's still pretty young at 28. Mm-hmm. Rock Ya-Sin actually came and visited Baltimore. And something I'm interested in, if Lamar doesn't sign the tag, do we still have to allocate the money for him?
Yeah, I think so.
And that's what I think so too. It just sucks.
Because if you can't sign it, and then you're screwed, right? Because that's all against the cap. It's $32 million.
Exactly. And that's, again, why. Because can you imagine if we had to sign the exclusive one and this drama had been continuing while Lamar's also saying they want – because if we had given Lamar the exclusive and he couldn't negotiate, he'd probably been saying that the Baltimore Ravens just aren't willing to talk to anyone, basically.
Yeah.
With how everything has gone. Mm-hmm. And can you imagine us having to – God – right now, we're just barely over the cap. 32 versus 43. We would have had to cut another $11 million in cap. We would have had to tear apart our roster just so Lamar could probably sit out.
Yeah.
And that's what drives me nuts. After that, the names start really Dalton Risner, the offensive guard from Denver.
Oh, we got Joe E in the chat.
What's up, Joe?
He said, is Lamar – he's a real hardball guy. You can tell the Michigan and the 49ers look. No, I think he tunes into Ryan stuff a lot. But he said, is Lamar going to be a holdout this year with all the drama? Levi's been saying he thinks he's going to be a San Francisco 49er.
Yeah, man. Let's make this trade happen. We'll take
Ayuk
roster. All 10 draft picks?
Oh, shut up. Say you wouldn't take okay, so say they wanted to trade you Bosa.
Oh.
Yeah, so say they wanted to trade you Bosa, a first, and Lance. Would you do it?
Did Bosa's deal's coming up, right? He hasn't signed it yet.
He's got to get paid, and it's going to be a lot of money. It's going to be
he's going to be number 1 defensive lineman or at least edge rusher, top 5 edge rusher for sure.
No, number 1.
Yeah,
for sure.
But Bosa and what else? I'm sorry.
A first next year, and Trey Lance.
Absolutely, I'd take that trade.
All right. Well, you and Joe E. Do you want Lamar?
But I'm also probably trading. Actually, I really don't want Trey Lance. I'd rather take another first round pick.
How about Purdy instead? How about Purdy instead?
Oh, I'd take Purdy, but I still want a third.
Our fans
cry in a good way or a bad way?
Yeah, dude, I see you guys. You guys been talking like you want Lamar. At least Bryant texted me this morning and was like, "Yo, hot take: Ayuk a first and Lance for Lamar Jackson." He said he wants Lamar, but everyone thinks Purdy is Breeze.
Don't get me wrong, Purdy's shown me some good things, but it's
He
not
really
like I've watched
did.
his college tape, you know. So it's one of those ones. Show me again when someone's got tape on you, and like, you know, of course, the 49ers have such a fucking good team around him that like.
Imagine them with Jackson, dude.
And that's again like instant. They're already Super Bowl favorites. At that point, like,
But say this: say they trade Lance, right? And this is all hypothetical, and I kind of hate hypothetical talk, but it's fun at the same time, so
exactly,
I just do it anyways.
I feel you.
So this is all hypothetical, but okay, say they trade you like 2 firsts, so 23, 24, Ayuk and Trey.
Well, they don't have to. No, they do have a 23 first round pick, don't they?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
They just don't have. Wait. No, so I guess it'd be 24 and 25.
But they do have 11 picks total.
Yeah, but their first pick's not till 99.
Yeah.
But anyways, so say they do that. Say they trade you 2 first round picks, Trey Lance, Brandon Ayuk, and then they get Lamar Jackson, right? Well, imagine so if Lamar gets hurt again, they'll have Purdy to back him up.
Exactly. Like you don't want to, and see, the thing is, the 49ers will not, like we talked about earlier, kind of with the trade deadline. I don't ever see them moving Purdy because it just for the amount of money they're paying Purdy. Hold on, let's see if I can find Purdy's contract here on my thing.
I think he's making $900,000.
I would not be surprised. Yeah, his cap hit is less than 900,000 next year. Trey Lance, 9 million. Yep. Let me see that. Of course, that's 10. Look at how like much money it is in the future, basically.
The only reason
really not that much, honestly.
The only reason I looked that up is because I was so jealous going into the playoff game. I was like, bro. Actually, I wasn't jealous because we weren't paying a quarterback anything. But I'm like, bro, look at what they're doing. They're paying their 2 quarterbacks. They're paying them like $11 million combined a year.
And in 2024, his cap hit doesn't really go up either. It's 10.8 million in 2024.
He said they should trade Debo if anyone. I agree with that. I think Ayuk is better. I think Ayuk's a real true wide receiver number 1. I think Debo is like an all around get him in space type of
I
guy.
was one of those ones. I love Debo, but I don't think he's a true number 1 either. I really don't think. I think he is again a slight product of a really great system and a great utilization. Like great coaching, great utilization. The 49ers front office, in my opinion, has always been pretty good. Like
pretty good.
But like we could never afford that Debo Samuel hit. Of course, this year it's nothing. But next year goes from 2023, 8.6 million hit, right? Next year, $28.5 million. He's not worth $28 million. I'm sorry. He's not. Do you know how much DeAndre Hopkins is making next year? $9 million. You know, the year after that, $14 million. Then he's a free agent. Yeah, I would trade Debo for DeAndre. Like, just saying. But also DeAndre does want a new deal as well, so that's a whole new thing.
What do you got going on the rest of the week, man?
God. I mean, I've got so much stuff, but at the same time, not. Like, we were supposed to be doing overnights. Like, I was so not looking forward to it. I was supposed to have overnight shift from Tuesday all the way to Friday, and we literally found out like this morning that canceled last minute. So like I'm so thankful for that. So I'm gonna be home every night. But it's like I gotta go like register a new car and do all this stuff, and our lease is coming up. So I'm like trying to figure out like if we're just gonna release here. But do we pay so much money for our apartment here? We pay literally like $2,500 a month for a 2-bedroom apartment right now.
So that's about the same price in downtown Seattle for a studio.
Yeah, we're in Fort Myers, Florida, like kind of not like in a big city. It's just too much money. Now, I will admit though, I kind of do love my neighborhood.
Mhm.
The amenity center has some stuff that I've never seen before. Our amenity center has a rock wall, so you can climb. It has a golf simulator, like with the giant screen and all the motion tracking, so you can play like full golf courses, and it has like a putting green and everything.
Sounds very Florida.
A little bowling alley built into it, so you can like do bowling at night. Like, oh yeah, definitely Florida. It's one of those ones. I looked at my girlfriend. I said they all cost a lot of money. Might as well pay like $100, $200 more a month and have the amenities that you actually really are nice and want to enjoy. Kind of like.
You got any shows coming up next week or?
Dude, I have been so slacking on my shows, and if Gunny was here, I'd apologize to him. They should trade Debo if anyone. I agree, Joey. But I know I want to organize more shows. Like case in point, like I said, like you're like inspiration slightly how many shows you're getting onto. Like,
yeah, it's fun. I've definitely been having a lot of fun with it. And also, if you're in the chat, Joey and John, I think are the two in the chat right now. Make sure you follow Darwin's Raven on YouTube. Levi, he's a Ravens fan, but he'll be on with me every Monday, and we kind of simulcast our streams to both channels. But make sure you give him a follow, and I think he's going to try to what's it called? Try to check out Ryan's stuff.
Definitely. Like at the end, like I said, send me like a Twitter message, by the way, with like all their channels and stuff, because I'll definitely drop in.
Yeah,
like, subscribe, and come in for some chats because it's always fun.
Yeah, and then this week, let's see, Wednesday I got Ryan coming on Wednesday, and then Thursday we do this. All the 49ers fans, I just kind of hop in with them and talk. They do this trivia night. This guy Corey is a super nice guy.
Okay.
Does trivia. His name's
trivia.
Touchdown Corey Davis is his name. Follow him if you're not. No Border Sports. Follow him if you're not. And Bryant Culp. Follow him if you're not. Mm-hmm. Those are all my dudes over there, and they've been so accepting to me as a Seahawks fan, which is so surprising. So,
for real though, that's a good sign of a good fan base, honestly.
But
I know we got to do a mock draft one day. Like we got to get maybe like one of your Niner fans in here. Of course, you could take we could just do for the division. I'll take either the Rams or Arizona.
Yeah,
I don't care.
Oh yeah, and Beto, he was on the Colin show last week.
Okay.
But John, I'll tell them all the Niners content creators to follow. Trust me. And they've been so cool to me. And they go, I didn't know a Seahawks fan could be this cool. And I go, dude, I didn't know Niners fans could be this cool. Because, I've been to so many Seahawks 49ers games, and I was expecting them to be straight up assholes. Because that's how we are at the games, right? We butt heads. Mm-hmm. But, it's all fun in here. We're all just
respect breeds respect.
Yeah, for sure. And they've all been super cool to me. The nicest group of guys I could ever ask for. So. Mm-hmm. But with that, I got a show on Sunday with Bryant Culp. He's kind of new, just like me. I think he started like a week before I did.
Okay.
And But
I'll say you're just going on like a bunch of other people's. That's like my thing. I'm trying to like figure out for my channel like more routine stuff to do, because of course I could be going live every day to talk about Lamar Jackson every day, the new drama added Lamar. But that's kind of like what Ingram. I don't know if you've ever seen Ingram videos. Mm-hmm. He's a really big Ravens guy. Has thousands and thousands of. He's probably like in my opinion, the closest thing to Grossi for the Ravens, in my opinion.
Oh, I got you.
But a lot of people like him as well. So it's one of those ones. I'm trying to figure out what my niche is and like what to cover. And that's my problem is like, I want to be going live more and doing more videos every week, but I'm struggling on how much content to cover and what to do. I feel like,
bro,
I need to do more general NFL.
You'll get for sure. But anyways, make sure to like and subscribe, both of us, like and subscribe both of our channels. And, if anybody has a channel in the chat, make sure you guys follow each other. Anyways, we'll see you next Monday. Peace out.
Later, guys.